My roommates and I were welcoming the college freshmen. Just then, a graceful figure emerged from the crowd. I looked up and realized it was actually a stunning beauty with a killer figure. And surprisingly, she looked somewhat familiar. Who is this beauty? Could she be a senior from our department? I do not recall our school having a beauty of this caliber. Stop guessing blindly. This is our college's new counselor, Tang Yusen. You guys have no chance. My roommate, Zhang Bo, immediately nudged my shoulder. Brother Xiao, if you are bold enough, you can send the pretty counselor on maternity leave. He gave me a knowing look. Suddenly, I remembered. It was actually her. Was not she the one from a year ago when I went back to my hometown, attended a friend's birthday party and accidentally drank too much? The beauty I ran into at the bar entrance. My alcohol tolerance was not very good back then. I had not drank much before I started feeling dizzy. So, I used the restroom as an excuse to head home early and sleep. But who would have thought, just as I was about to leave the bar, I ran into a similarly dead drunk beauty at the entrance. I do not really remember what happened after that. Hello everyone, my name is Tang Yusen. From now on, I will be the counselor for the freshman finance department. I hope everyone will cooperate with my work in the future. As soon as Tang Yusen finished speaking, the students present broke into applause. The male students, in particular, clapped incredibly hard. Welcome, Miss Tang. We will definitely cooperate well with your work. Facing the students' enthusiastic response, Tang Yusen just nodded indifferently and prepared to turn and leave. But just as she was about to depart, the group of girls dispersed, revealing my chiseled face right in front of her. She froze instantly, her calm expression rippled with emotion. Just like that night a year ago, she stared at me blankly with wide eyes. I was looking back at Tang Yusen as well. When I saw Tang Yusen's face clearly, memories of her flooded my mind instantly. We stared at each other in mutual shock. We even forgot that there were so many students watching us. At this moment, everyone present stood frozen, looking at us in surprise. What is going on? Does Miss Tang know our senior? My roommate Zhang Bo suddenly got anxious. Brother Xiao, I was just joking with you. I did not expect you to actually be bold enough to stare at the beautiful counselor. Noticing the students' strange looks, Tang Yusen coughed twice to compose herself. Pretending not to know me, Tang Yusen said calmly, "Why you guys should not just stand here. Grab your luggage and quickly follow the seniors. Go find your dorms." After speaking, she gave me a meaningful glance, then turned and left. I understood perfectly and nodded. After all the freshmen had left, I quietly walked in the direction Tang Yusen had gone. We walked out of the school, one behind the other, without saying a word. We arrived at a secluded street, and finally stopped. Eyes met. We both felt a bit awkward, and the atmosphere was somewhat strange. After all, we had not seen each other for a year. We never had much interaction before either, except for that own night. Have you been well? Tang Yusen was the first to break the dead silence. Yeah, pretty good. I did not act overly sentimental and replied calmly. What about you? How has this past year been for you? Such a simple question, but it somehow struck a sensitive nerve in Tang Yusen. She broke down instantly, her eyes turning red. She whimpered, and then tears streamed down her face. Beautiful women look gorgeous even when they are sobbing. Seeing Tang Yusen suddenly burst into tears sent me into an instant panic. I did not know how to comfort her, so I just pulled out some tissues while asking, "What is wrong? Please do not cry." Tang Yusen took the tissues and wiped the tears from her face. Then she looked up and said with utmost seriousness, "I gave birth to 3 kids. They're all yours." 3 kids? Her words struck like a bolt of lightning from a clear blue sky, hitting me hard. I looked at Tang Yusen in sheer disbelief. Is this some kind of sick joke? Having 3 kids? Did that own encounter a year ago directly result in triplets? I felt this whole thing was utterly absurd. You do not believe me? Seeing the expression on my face, Tang Yusen seemed to have expected it. She clenched her fists tightly and said somewhat shyly, "I got pregnant right after that time." I stood rooted to the spot, still finding it hard to believe. After all, this news was just too mind-blowing. Even short dramas would not dare plot something like this. I could not quite accept it, becoming a father out of nowhere. It is better to be cautious. I definitely could not let myself get played and raise someone else's children, right? If they really are my kids, I will definitely take responsibility. Tang Yusen knew I would not believe her based on her words alone. So, she hailed a taxi and motioned for me to follow her. I did not know what Tang Yusen was planning, but to figure out whether I was really a father, I still got into the car. Half an hour later, we arrived at a residential complex in the suburbs. The place where Tang Yusen lived was 20 kilometers away from the school. Normally, a round trip to school took over an hour just on the road. To save money, she had to wake up early every day and transfer between 3 subway lines just to get to school. She had no complaints about this whatsoever. She even seemed to enjoy it. We're here. Tang Yusin led me to the bottom of a dilapidated residential building. We climbed the stairs all the way to a rented apartment on the 3rd floor. As soon as I entered the living room, I looked around. The apartment was not big, but the layout was nice, a simple 2-bedroom, own living room unit. The furniture and decor were very minimalist. Just a wooden sofa, a few chairs, and 2 beds. There was not even a TV. At the same time, I also noticed that the coffee table in the living room was piled high with diapers and milk powder cans of all sizes. The bed was piled high with diapers and milk powder cans of all sizes. Just as I was observing, the bedroom door opened. A middle-aged woman around 40 walked out of the room. "Miss Tang, you're back. I just finished changing the baby's diapers, and they are all asleep." Tang Yusin nodded, then looked at me. She introduced her. "This is Aunt Wang, the maternity matron I hired." "Hello," I greeted politely. Aunt Wang looked me up and down. She suddenly realized something, nodded and smiled. "You two chat then. I will go out to buy some groceries first." After saying that, she tactfully left the living room. Then, Tang Yusin led me into the bedroom. Upon entering, I was shocked by the scene before my eyes. On a large double bed lay 3 chubby, fair-skinned babies. They were lying there neatly, fast asleep. The 3 little darlings looked exceptionally cute, like carved jade. Especially the little boy in the middle. He looked like a little meatball. It made me want to reach out and gently touch him. Seeing this sight, I was completely dumbfounded. I asked in astonishment, "Are these all my children?" Tang Yusin nodded gently. Right at that moment, a mechanical voice rang out in my mind. "Father's love is like a mountain system officially activated. Congratulations to the host for successfully meeting your children. Reward, 500,000 in cash. The funds have been legally transferred to the host's bank account." The system, as a web novel writer, I could not be more familiar with the concept of a system. I just never expected that after writing web novels for so long, it was finally my turn to bind with a system. This system is the father's love is like a mountain system. As long as the host takes good care of the children, you will receive various rewards. The system will also issue various tasks at any time. Upon completing the tasks, you will receive even richer rewards. After listening to the system's explanation, I generally understood the functions of this system. As long as I take good care of the children, I get rewards. And completing tasks yields even richer rewards. Novice Dad Task 1 issued, "Please feed the babies." Reward, stock market trend chart. Possessing this function allows you to obtain the detailed trend of any stock for the next 7 days. A stock market trend chart, now that is a good item. The stock market has been so hot lately. Everyone is bragging that a bull market has arrived. With this function, making money in the stock market would be as easy as flipping my hand. Thinking this, I slowly walked over to the bed. I leaned down and used a gentle gaze to look at the 3 babies on the bed. They all looked so adorable. Round heads, pink cheeks, like little meatballs that made me want to plant a kiss on them. I do not know why. Seeing them sleeping so sweetly on the bed, a feeling of blood connection instantly surged from the bottom of my heart, making me feel incredibly happy. At this time, Tang Yusin walked over. She stood by the bed and introduced, "The 3 of them are triplets. The one on the far left is the eldest, a boy. The one in the middle is the second, and the one on the right is the youngest. They're both girls. What are their names?" I asked, my voice trembling slightly. Tang Yusin lowered her head and did not answer the question. The babies were born not long ago, and she was busy with work. Furthermore, she did not even know where their father was. She naturally did not have the mind to name the children yet. "Can I hold them?" asked next. Whether they sensed their father's arrival or not, the babies who were sound asleep opened their eyes own by own and stared fixedly at me. "Yes, just be careful." Tang Yusin could tell that I genuinely liked the babies, so she agreed to let me hold them. She first picked up the eldest and placed him in my arms. "Raise your arm a bit higher. Right, support his head like this," Tang Yusin patiently explained to me. I learned very quickly too. In no time, I learned how to hold a baby. Although this was my first time holding a baby, I held him very securely. The eldest did not cry or fuss. He just looked eagerly at the man in front of him who looked somewhat similar to himself. Looking at the eldest in my arms, I felt an indescribable excitement. This was my own child. Yeah. as if the eldest knew the man in front of him was his dad. He suddenly started babbling. Seeing this, I could not help but gently tap his nose, a doting smile appearing on my face. Seeing this heartwarming scene, Tang Yusin, standing to the side, instantly got teary-eyed. Carrying them for 10 months, she went through so much to give birth to these 3 babies. She originally thought they would grow up in a childhood devoid of fatherly love. Now, through a twist of fate, she had met him again. It seemed this was all arranged by heaven. I carefully placed the eldest back on the bed. Then I picked up the second child. Next, as I was preparing to pick up the youngest, the youngest is very shy around strangers. Except for me, even if Aunt Wang holds her, she will. Before Tang Yusin could finish her sentence, I had already picked up the youngest. I turned around and looked at Tang Yusin in confusion. She will what? And nothing. Tang Yusin frowned, looking at the youngest giggling joyfully in my arms. She was instantly left speechless. How come this little girl suddenly was not shy around strangers anymore? Clearly, no one but her could hold her before. Even if Aunt Wang just hugged her briefly, she would cry terribly. Is this what they call the bond of blood? I lowered my head to look at the youngest in my arms, looking a bit smug. Of course, just look at whose kid she is. Seeing me sitting on the edge of the bed, having a blast playing with the 3 babies, Tang Yusin seemed to think of something embarrassing. She bit her lip lightly and walked over. Could you lend me some money? Saying this, Tang Yusin's pretty face immediately turned bright red. My salary for this month has not been paid yet. Rent is due tomorrow, and I am still short a few $100, so. I put down the youngest, stood up, and looked at Tang Yusin. What is your EarthChat ID? I will add you. Tang Yusin did not act coy. She directly took out her phone. She opened her EarthChat and added me as a friend. Not long after, Tang Yusin saw that I had transferred 50,000 yuan to her. Before she even had time to be surprised, several more transfers followed immediately. Without exception, they were all large transfers of 50,000 yuan. A total of 4 transfers, adding up to 200,000. EarthChat's daily transfer limit is exactly 200,000. I will give you this much for today. When you run out in a while, I will give you more. When I met the kids earlier, the system rewarded me with 500,000. Taking out 200,000 to give to Tang Yusin now did not hurt me one bit. Besides, this money is also for the children. Raising 3 kids costs quite a bit every day. Thank you. Looking at the EarthChat transfer screen, Tang Yusin was so moved that she could not speak for a moment. But soon she remembered something. She asked with some confusion, when I met you at school today, you should be a student at Jiaodong University too, right? How do you have so much money? I earned it myself, I said with absolute confidence. Earned it yourself? How did you earn it? Tang Yusin did not quite believe it. Stock trading. The stock market is really hot right now, I explained with a smile. I could not just tell Tang Yusin that this money was a system reward, could I? After all, I did not plan on telling anyone about having a system. Hearing my words, Tang Yusin did not press the matter further. Even though she did not trade stocks, she had heard from others how booming the recent stock market was. It seemed like as long as you invested money, you could make a massive profit. Her family did not have much money. Her father was an employee at a state-owned enterprise, and her mother was a housewife. Their monthly household income was less than 10,000 yuan. So after she got pregnant, she did not dare tell her family. She could only rely on herself, silently making money, to give birth to and raise 3 kids. As a result, she had now run into the children's father. Unexpectedly, he was also very good at making money. However, Tang Yusin also knew that stock trading carries significant risks. Therefore, she kindly reminded me, there are risks in the stock market. It is best if you quit while you are ahead. I nodded. I know, do not worry. Although I can't compare to Warren Buffett, I have studied the stock market very thoroughly. Speaking of stock trading, I suddenly remembered the task the system had just issued. As long as I fed the babies, I could get a own week stock market trend chart. With this thing, even if Warren Buffett came, he could not outtrade me. Thinking of this reward, I suddenly said, Yusin, how about this? I am a junior now and do not have many classes. Starting tomorrow, I will ask for leave to come take care of the kids. You can focus on your work with peace of mind. We can also save the money used for hiring the maternity matron. Please do not. Tang Yusin shook her head and refused. Your studies are more important. I can just work a little harder and save up for the maternity matron's fee. Seeing this, I did not insist. Some things can't be rushed. They must be done slowly. I could see that Tang Yusin still had her guard up around me a little bit. Alright, but as the children's father, I also need to learn how to take care of them. Could you teach me how to feed them? Of course. Tang Yusin nodded. She even seemed a bit happy. Then, under her guidance, I quickly prepared the formula for the babies. The babies were not picky either, gulping it right down. Watching the 3 babies feeding, I felt my heart melting from the cuteness. Congratulations to the host for completing the task. Reward obtained, stock market trend chart. Novice Dad Task 2 issued. Please change the diapers for all 3 babies. Completion reward 1 million in cash. This time's task reward is actually a full 1 million in cash. This is too awesome. Hearing the system's prompt in my mind, the corners of my mouth subconsciously curled up. Seeing the smile on my face, Tang Yusin thought it was because I was looking at the babies. She asked, "They are really cute, right?" "Yeah, my children are naturally adorable," I said proudly, looking down at the youngest who was drinking her milk. I looked up at Tang Yusin again and added, "Besides, their mom is so beautiful. Is not it perfectly normal for the kids to be cute?" Tang Yusin glared at me shyly. At this moment, she felt a wave of sweetness in her heart. Before meeting me, Tang Yusin had not felt this kind of happiness for a long time. "By the way, let me rent an apartment near the school for you tomorrow. You live so far away right now. It is inconvenient to go to school to teach. Commuting back and forth is quite exhausting." Hearing my words, Tang Yusin felt a warmth in her heart. However, she still shook her head and said, "Let us forget about it. You're still in school. We should save wherever we can." As for the 200,000 I gave her, she decided to save it and plan carefully, ensuring all of it would be spent on the children. Working a little harder herself did not matter to her. Seeing her refuse, I did not say anything more. When the time comes, I will just rent the apartment myself. Once it is settled, she won't be able to refuse even if she wants to. After feeding the children, Tang Yusin checked the time and saw it was getting late. So she said, "You guys have classes in the afternoon. Why do not you head back first? In such a hurry to kick me out?" Just as she spaced out for a moment, I suddenly reached out and tightly grasped her soft, jade-like hand. Tang Yusin did not speak. Faced with this sudden happiness, she seemed a bit at a loss for what to do. She tried to pull her hand back, but I held onto it firmly and would not let her slip away no matter what. "I know you might think that I am only treating you well because of the babies, but little do you know, ever since that time, I have actually never forgotten you. Over the past year, several girls have taken the initiative to confess to me, but I rejected all of them, because I have always been hoping that maybe one day, I could meet you again, and the day I have been waiting for has finally arrived." I looked at Tang Yusin affectionately. Hearing this confession, Tang Yusin's face turned slightly red. A ripple formed deep within her heart, and her heartbeat started to accelerate. I had to admit, I was indeed very outstanding. Not only was I handsome, but I was also very responsible. Although I did not really want to leave, it was obvious that Tang Yusin did not want me to stay here any longer. I could only helplessly get up and leave. Tang Yusin walked me to the door, only after my figure disappeared down the stairwell. Did she sigh and return to the bedroom? But the next day, something she never expected happened. My roommate joked with me, saying that as long as I was bold enough, the beautiful teaching assistant would go on maternity leave. I never expected that the beautiful Tang Yusin, had actually given birth to my triplets. To ensure the children's mother and the babies could live comfortably, I immediately spent 5,000 yuan to rent a 3-bedroom apartment. I took out my phone and hurriedly told Tang Yusin, "Hello, Yusin. Where are you right now?" "1. I am eating at the staff cafeteria." Tang Yusin's voice seemed a bit flustered. "I see," I said with some regret. "I was planning to invite you out to eat with me." "No need. The food at the staff cafeteria is pretty good, and it is cheap too." Tang Yusin hurriedly declined. Owen had to realize she now had to raise 3 babies. She needed to save money wherever she could. "All right," I nodded and said, "I just rented an apartment near the school. If you do not have classes this afternoon, let us go back and move your things together." Hearing my words, Tang Yusin said in surprise, "Why did you rent an apartment? Did not I tell you? There is no need to rent an apartment for me, that is too wasteful." I said forcefully, "What is wasteful about it? The place you live in now is so far from the school. You waste hours commuting to school every day. If you move near the school, it will be much easier for me to help take care of the babies too." But my firm attitude left Tang Yusin with no choice but to compromise. Soon it was 4 p.m. Tang Yusin gave me a call, saying she had finished her classes for the day. We agreed to meet at the snack street outside the school. Not long after, Tang Yusin appeared in my line of sight. I smiled and went up to greet her. I asked softly, "How was it? How did your first day of class feel? Those junior students did not give you a hard time, did they? It was okay. Tang Yusin lifted her head, lowered her eyes and asked, was the apartment you rented expensive? I shook my head and said, not expensive at all, just live there with peace of mind. I rented a suite in a regular residential complex. It is only 2 kilometers away from the school. It is a 3-bedroom, own living room apartment, so there are plenty of rooms. Hearing that it was so close to the school, Tang Yusin's expression also showed some joy. After all, being closer meant that after class, she could see the babies earlier. She gave me a gentle look and said softly, thank you. Why are you being so polite with me? Let us go, I will take you to move. To save money, Tang Yusin originally wanted to take the subway back. But I did not give her a chance at all, reaching out and hailing a taxi right away. Half an hour later, the two of us arrived back at Tang Yusin's apartment. As soon as we entered, we saw Aunt Wang coaxing the 3 children in the living room. Miss Tang, Mr. Xiao, you're back. Aunt Wang came out to welcome us enthusiastically. Yesterday, after I left, Aunt Wang specially pulled Tang Yusin aside for a chat. She quickly learned that I was the father of the children who had never shown up, although she did not know much about the situation. Seeing that I had given Tang Yusin a large sum of money right upon meeting, her opinion of me, this supposedly irresponsible father, instantly changed for the better. After all, to take care of the 3 babies recently, she understood better than anyone just how hard Tang Yusin had been working. Now that she saw the children's father finally appear, Aunt Wang was genuinely happy for Tang Yusin from the bottom of her heart. By the way, Aunt Wang, while Aunt Wang was lost in thought, I suddenly spoke up. Thank you so much for taking care of our Yusin recently. Hearing me call her that, Tang Yusin looked at me in surprise, her pretty face instantly flushing red. After all, Aunt Wang was still here. Being called like that inevitably made her shy. Oh, what are you thanking me for? Seeing me walk over, Aunt Wang handed the youngest baby from her arms to me and smiled even brighter. It is all part of my job. The thing is, Aunt Wang, Yusin and I rented an apartment near Modu Jiaodong University. It is much bigger than this own, and the neighborhood environment is great too. Do you think you could go over there to help us take care of the children? Aunt Wang smiled slightly. Of course, no problem. Actually, to be honest, me going to Modu Jiaodong University, it is closer than commuting here. Hearing Aunt Wang say this, I immediately made the decision. Alright then, let us move over there right now. Aunt Wang, you should come along too. We will have to trouble you to take care of Yusin and the babies from now on, to celebrate moving into our new home. From now on, Aunt Wang, your salary will be increased by 50% from your original pay. Hearing this, Aunt Wang grinned from ear to ear. The workplace was now closer to her home, and her salary had increased. Who would not be happy about that? Tang Yusin had no objections to this either, because Aunt Wang had indeed taken great care of her recently. A raise was well deserved. The 3 of them immediately started packing. I called a moving company, then took Tang Yusin and Aunt Wang to the Rose Garden residential complex near the school. Entering the living room and looking at the spacious apartment, Tang Yusin could not hide her amazement. She watched me bustling about at the door, moving the luggage, and suddenly heard Aunt Wang say from behind, Miss Tang, you have great taste. Mr. Xiao is a good man. Now that your family is finally reunited, your days ahead will definitely get better and better. Hearing Aunt Wang's words, Tang Yusin's pretty face blushed slightly. Thank you, Aunt Wang. At this moment, her heart was filled to the brim with happiness. 20 minutes later, I finished unpacking everything we brought. Right at that moment, the second baby in Aunt Wang's arms suddenly started crying loudly. Oh my little darling, did you make a stinky? Saying so, Aunt Wang prepared to carry the second baby to go find a clean diaper. I suddenly remembered the task issued by the system yesterday. So I hurriedly stopped her and said, Aunt Wang, let me do it. Teach me how to change the baby's diaper. After all, I need to learn how to take care of the babies too. Hearing this, Aunt Wang was even more delighted, because very few first-time dads are willing to take the initiative to change diapers. Alright, go get a diaper, and I will teach you how to change it. Under Aunt Wang's patient guidance, I quickly learned how to change a diaper. In just a few minutes, I had successfully changed the second baby's diaper. Right then, the system's voice chimed in. Congratulations to the host for completing the novice dad task. Reward 1 million in cash. The host has become a qualified novice dad. Special rewards, advanced culinary skills and own marrow cleansing pill. The advanced culinary skills rival the craftsmanship of a state banquet chef. Marrow cleansing pill. After taking this pill, the host will undergo a baptism from the inside out, gaining powerful physical strength while also enhancing your physical appearance. Just as the system finished speaking, I felt a bottle-shaped object appear in my pocket. At the same time, a massive amount of culinary knowledge flooded my mind. I felt like even if I went to a 5-star hotel right now, to apply for their executive chef position, it probably would not be a problem at all. Having acquired a new skill, I naturally wanted to show it off. I looked at Tang Yusin and said, "Yusin, there is a wet market nearby. I will go buy some groceries now and cook dinner for us tonight." Hearing this, Tang Yusin turned her head in surprise. "You know how to cook? You have to realize, very few college students nowadays actually know how to cook. What kind of treasure boy is this?" Of course, I raised my eyebrows and said proudly, "What do you guys want to eat tonight? I can make anything for you." "Anything is fine with me," Tang Yusin said with a smile. Actually, hearing that I was going to cook sparked a little anticipation in her heart. She wondered how good the children's father's cooking was. So, under their expectant gazes, I left the house humming a little tune, heading to the market to buy groceries. After I left, Aunt Wang could not help but turn around and say to Tang Yusin, "Miss Tang, it looks like you have really found a good husband." Not at all. Teased by Aunt Wang like this, Tang Yusin blushed shyly. Although she did not know what to say, her heart felt incredibly sweet. "Look at my old man. Let alone cooking for the kids. We have been married for so many years, and I have barely seen him step foot in the kitchen." Once this topic was brought up, it was like opening a chatterbox for Aunt Wang. She complained endlessly about her own husband in front of Tang Yusin, while also not forgetting to sing my praises. Faced with Aunt Wang's praises, Tang Yusin appeared calm on the surface, but her heart was already blooming with joy. After all, how could she not be happy having such an outstanding man? Soon, I came back from grocery shopping. I carried big bags and small bags in my hands, filled with a complete variety of ingredients. Seeing this, both Aunt Wang and Tang Yusin were a bit dumbfounded. "Are you going to cook all these? Can we finish this much? And do you even know how to make this many dishes?" I smiled, looking at Tang Yusin. "Do not worry, just leave it to your man." Then, I carried the ingredients into the kitchen and started getting busy. Out of curiosity, Tang Yusin put on her slippers and quietly sneaked over to the kitchen door, wanting to see exactly how good my cooking skills were. As a result, she was completely shocked by what she saw. She saw me in the kitchen holding a kitchen knife, chopping and slicing with incredibly skillful techniques. In just a few minutes, I had prepped several meat dishes. Then I picked up a radish from the side, placed it neatly on the cutting board, and started slicing it. The sound of the knife hitting the cutting board rang out, looking somewhat like a scene straight out of a chef movie. All those prepped ingredients were neatly arranged on plates by me. Following that, I heated oil in the wok and tossed the ingredients in. Seeing this scene, Tang Yusin was completely mesmerized. She never expected that I would be so good at cooking. On the other side, Aunt Wang, who was taking care of the babies in the living room, also caught a whiff of the rich aroma. Gulp. She could not help but swallow her saliva. Then she put down the youngest baby in her arms and walked toward the kitchen. When she saw me showing off my skills in the kitchen, Aunt Wang was also instantly stunned. "This young man is truly amazing," she could not help but exclaim. If ordinary people cook merely to fill their stomachs, then the me in front of them was clearly turning cooking into an art form. Every movement I made was pleasing to the eye. Why are you guys standing at the door?" Noticing someone behind me, I glanced back. Tang Yusin opened her mouth wide and said in disbelief, "How are you so amazing at cooking? Watching your movements just now, it felt like I was watching a movie." "No, even movies are not this exaggerated." Aunt Wang, standing to the side, could not help but nod repeatedly. Regarding the culinary skills I displayed, she expressed that she had never seen anything like it in her entire life. "It is nothing, just practice makes perfect," I joked with a smile. Although I already knew how to cook, after receiving the system's reward, my culinary skills had advanced by leaps and bounds. I was even better than a 3-star Michelin chef. Seeing the confident smile on my face, Tang Yusin's long dormant heart felt like it had been struck by something. Meeting my gaze again, she felt entirely flustered and wanted to run away in embarrassment. Before long, 8 dishes perfectly balanced in color, aroma, and taste were freshly served. Tang Yusin and Aunt Wang walked into the kitchen and carried the dishes to the dining table own by own. Sitting at the dining table, looking at the delicious feast in front of her, Tang Yusin's appetite was thoroughly whetted. She could not wait to pick up her chopsticks. She picked up a piece of sweet and sour pork ribs and put it in her mouth. So delicious." Tang Yusin praised it while nodding as she ate. The ribs were crispy on the outside, and the sauce was sweet but not cloying. The meat was incredibly tender, leaving a lingering aftertaste. seeing Tang Yusin enjoying the food so much. I felt very satisfied in my heart. Do not just focus on the ribs. Have some fish head soup. I picked up the soup spoon and served Tang Yusin a large, full bowl of fish head and tofu soup. Seeing this scene, Aunt Wang across the table looked at us with a face full of envy. Miss Tang, Mr. Xiao is so good to you. This fish head soup is perfect for women who have just had babies. Tang Yusin cast a gentle glance at me beside her. As the saying goes, if you want to capture a man's heart, you must first capture his stomach. This phrase applies just as well to women. After eating the meal I cooked, Tang Yusin felt like everything she had eaten before was practically pig slop. Oh no, she had fallen in love with this man's food. Right at this moment, the 3 babies in their cribs suddenly started babbling. I was taken aback for a second, then realized their little tummies must be hungry too. You guys keep eating. I will go make some formula for the kids. Saying that, I put down my chopsticks and walked toward the living room. Seeing my practiced movements as I prepared the formula, Tang Yusin felt as if her heart had been filled with something. A happy smile appeared on her face. After dinner, it was about time for Aunt Wang to go home. Just as Aunt Wang picked up her bag, ready to leave the apartment, I suddenly called out to her. Then I took out a thick envelope and handed it to Aunt Wang. Aunt Wang, this is your salary for last month. Be careful on your way back. Aunt Wang took the envelope and gave it a quick feel. A joyful smile broke out on her face. She hurriedly thanked me. Thank you, Mr. Xiao. I will be heading back now. I closed the door and returned to the bedroom. I happened to see Tang Yusin changing the youngest baby's diaper. Did she make a stinky again? Tang Yusin skillfully finished changing the diaper. Then she said to me, I need to wash the babies later. Can you help me out? Of course. I walked over, leaned in close to Tang Yusin, and said seriously, from now on, you are not allowed to be so polite when talking to me, understand? We are family, there is no need to treat me like an outsider. Tang Yusin lowered her head shyly. Then she quickly changed the subject. The babies are still young, so they do not need a full bath every day. Washing them twice a week is about right, but they do need to be cleaned daily. I nodded, half understanding. But, alright, I will help you. Teach me what to do. As a qualified dad, I definitely needed to know how to do these things. Tang Yusin, while wiping the eldest baby's bottom, explained the things I needed to pay attention to. She radiated a maternal glow. Although the process had a few hiccups, I ultimately succeeded in helping Tang Yusin complete the task of cleaning the babies. At this moment, the system's voice chimed in. Congratulations to the host for completing the task of cleaning the babies for the first time. Reward, own Land Rover Defender. Bonus reward, a 100,000 yuan gas card. Note, the vehicle has been parked in the underground parking lot of the host's residential complex. All relevant documents and vehicle registration have been placed inside the car. Please go and check it at your convenience. Hearing the system's voice, I froze for a second before getting excited. Just casually washing the baby's bottoms. And I get to drive such a luxury car. This is too awesome. This is a Land Rover Defender worth 1,000,000 yuan. Thinking of this, I could not help but plant a big kiss on the youngest baby's cheek. Then I grinned at Tang Yusin. Tang Yusin, standing nearby, froze, and her face instantly turned red. Is the children's father going to kiss me too? My roommate joked with me that as long as I was bold enough, the beautiful teaching assistant would go on maternity leave. I never expected that the beautiful Tang Yusin really gave birth to triplets for me. After I finished washing the babies, I received the Land Rover rewarded by the system. At this moment, inside the apartment, Tang Yusin was on the sofa looking after the 3 babies. But she quickly noticed the set of car keys clutched in my hand. Xiaofei, did you buy a car? I walked over to Tang Yusin and placed the car keys on the table. I made some money trading stocks a while ago, so I ordered a car at the dealership. They delivered it today. Tang Yusin looked at me in shock. You bought a car while still in college. What kind of car is it? Tang Yusin picked up the keys and took a look. She did not recognize the Land Rover logo. In fact, for most girls, besides BBA, they generally do not recognize many other car brands. I smiled faintly at Tang Yusin. It is a Land Rover Defender, 7-seater version. It costs around 1,000,000. Hearing this, Tang Yusin was even more shocked. 1,000,000? Just how much money did you make trading stocks? Tang Yusin's eyes widened in utter disbelief. I really enjoyed this expression on Tang Yusin's face. I reached out, pinched Tang Yusin's cheek, and said with a smile, not that much. But as your man, supporting you and the children won't be a problem at all. Tang Yusin's pretty face turned red. She slapped my hand away, and said in a huff, What nonsense are you sprouting? I am not spouting nonsense. We already have kids together. Am I not your man? I looked at Tang Yusin and teased. Although what I said was a fact. Tang Yusin still felt a bit embarrassed. She shyly lowered her head. Seeing her charming appearance, my heart skipped a beat. However, I also knew that some things could not be rushed. Tang Yusin had not truly accepted me yet, so I changed the subject. Wifey, do you think this apartment is pretty big? What are you trying to do? Tang Yusin suddenly took a step back, getting goosebumps all over. She stared at me, a little scared but also a bit shy. I pointed to the 3 bedrooms in the apartment. Look, I purposely rented a bigger place. It has 3 bedrooms. So what, does he want to sleep here tonight? Not knowing what she had imagined, Tang Yusin suddenly panicked. She was not prepared right now to live together with me. And no, Tang Yusin subconsciously wanted to refuse. But before she could finish, she paused. Although we had only been reunited for less than 2 days, my performance had completely exceeded Tang Yusin's expectations. It could almost be said to be perfect. Tang Yusin could also tell that I was genuine towards both her and the babies. So, now she hesitated, seeing Tang Yusin looking like she wanted to say something but stopping. I walked over and said softly, "Do not overthink it. I am staying to help you take care of the babies. The babies are still young. You taking care of all 3 of them by yourself, having to teach during the day and feed them at night. It is impossible for you to get proper rest. So I want to stay and help you take care of them at night, so you can get a full night's sleep." At this point, I leaned in close to Tang Yusin and gently stroked her hair. Tang Yusin's face instantly turned red, and even her breathing became ragged. For a moment, she did not know what to say. "Look at you, you have got dark circles from staying up late. How can you take good care of the babies if you do not rest well?" "It is decided then." I did not give Tang Yusin a chance to refuse, learning that I was staying just to help her take care of the babies. Tang Yusin felt a wave of sweetness in her heart, but soon she felt it was a bit inappropriate. She waved her hand and said, "No, you're still a student. You juniors still have classes tomorrow." Speaking of this, Tang Yusin seemed to remember something, and her brows furrowed. "Tell me, you are not thinking of abandoning your degree, just because you made some money trading stocks, are you? I am warning you, I am a counselor. I will absolutely not allow you to skip classes." Seeing Tang Yusin's serious expression, I laughed and teased, "Oh, now you remember you are a counselor. You are also the mother of our children." Tang Yusin was incredibly embarrassed and annoyed. She glared at me fiercely and scolded, "I am not joking with you. Alright. Seeing this, I immediately surrendered. "I promise you, I definitely won't let my studies fall behind. If I fail even one subject in the final exams, I will immediately move back to school and study hard." Hearing this, Tang Yusin finally nodded in satisfaction. "You said it. If you let your studies fall behind because of taking care of the babies, then you must move back to school immediately and study hard. You must get your diploma." I could hear from Tang Yusin's words that she still cared about me a lot. After all, I am the father of her children. "No problem, wifey. I definitely won't make you worry." "Who is your wifey? Do not talk nonsense." Tang Yusin's pretty face turned red, and she turned her head away in a panic. "You will be soon," I muttered under my breath. Then I said, "Enough talk, I am going back to the dorm to get my luggage." Then I grabbed my car keys and left the apartment. After leaving the house, I went straight to the garage. I drove the Land Rover Defender rewarded by the system back to school. Even though the complex was very close to the school, I still chose to drive for the convenience of moving my stuff. However, just as I was about to enter the school, I was stopped by the security guard at the gate. I rolled down the window and showed the guard my student ID. The guard then let me through, while silently grumbling in his heart, wondering which rich kid this was, actually driving such a luxury car to school. "Oh my God, is not that Brother Xiao?" Just as I rolled up the window and was about to drive in, a sudden exclamation came from not far away. I turned my head and saw that it was actually my 3 dorm mates. "Oh, my dear sons, are you surprised to see your daddy?" Seeing me sitting in the Land Rover Defender, Zhang Bo's jaw almost dropped to the floor. "Brother Xiao, is this your car?" Wu Zitao walked right up, stroking the tough exterior of the Land Rover Defender. He said excitedly, "If I am not mistaken, this should be a Land Rover Defender, right? This is a luxury car worth $1 million. Lu Chao, my roommate from the Northeast, had just circled the car once, and was about to say something, when the security guard walked over, and shouted at the top of his lungs, "Hurry up and move the car. Do not block the gate. Alright, you guys get in. I will drive you back to the dorm." I first called out to the guard, then waved to my 3 good sons. As soon as they got into the car, The three guys were like country bumpkins entering a grand estate, looking left and right, touching everything. They were practically drooling. Taozi, you just said Brother Zhao's car costs $1 million. Who would have thought our Brother Xiao is actually a hidden rich kid? Zhang Bo could not help but tease. I rolled my eyes at the three of them, and said speechlessly, if I were a rich kid, I would have driven a luxury car here when I first started college. Would I have waited until now? So you are saying you bought this car yourself? Zhang Bo could not help but swallow hard. My God, I never imagined writing web novels could be so lucrative. Before long, the Land Rover Defender arrived downstairs at the dorm. After parking the car, the four of us quickly ran back up to the dorm and started packing. I did not have many things. Own suitcase was enough to fit everything. Finally, packing my laptop into my bag, I was all set. I dragged my suitcase and left the dorm, looking at my departing back. Zhang Bo could not help but sigh. I suddenly feel like gaming is not that fun anymore. Look at Brother Xiao, he is already driving a Land Rover. We should probably start thinking about our post-graduation plans too. I put my luggage in the car. I was not in a hurry to go home. Instead, I went to a maternity and baby product store to buy some baby strollers for the kids, plus 3 child safety car seats. Oh, sir. Is there anything I can help you with? As soon as I entered the store, a sweet-looking salesgirl came up to greet me. Seeing me, her eyes immediately lit up. Although I was dressed a bit ordinarily, I was handsome and dashing, exuding an elegant aura. I looked exactly like a Prince Charming. The salesgirl had already started fantasizing in her mind, thinking about how wonderful it would be. If she could be with me, she would have so much face in front of her best friends. Do you sell baby strollers here? While the salesgirl was spacing out, I asked straightforwardly, I want to buy a stroller for my kids. Hearing this, the girl's face instantly showed disappointment. Why do all the high-quality handsome guys get married so early? And he even has kids already. Although she felt a bit disappointed in her heart, the girl still enthusiastically led me inside. Sir, over here is our stroller display area. You can take your pick. Looking at the strollers before me, I frowned. My children are triplets, so do you have those multi-seat strollers here? Triplets? The salesgirl looked at me in astonishment. She did not expect this handsome guy to not only look good, but also be so capable to have triplets in own go. That is truly amazing. I'm sorry, sir. Our store only has twin strollers at most. After all, twins are already rare, so we do not stock triplet strollers. Then I will take own twin stroller and own single stroller. Also, give me 3 child safety seats, the kind you install in a car. The salesgirl nodded and smiled sweetly. All right, sir. Please wait a moment. I will go get the items for you. The salesgirl quickly gathered the things I wanted and packed them all up. After paying the bill, I carried a few large boxes out of the store. I put the strollers in the trunk and installed the safety seats directly. Then I drove back to the Rose Garden complex. Inside the apartment, seeing me come home carrying so many bags and boxes, Tang Yusin hurried over to greet me, taking the things from my hands. You bought strollers? Yeah, I nodded. The babies are already 2 months old. We can take them out properly now. To get some sun and get close to nature. Tang Yusin smiled, nodding and said, I know. But the stroller's sunshades and seat cushions need to be washed with water. I will take them in to wash them right now. Saying so, Tang Yusin took the sunshades off both strollers and removed all the seat cushions inside, taking them to the bathroom to wash. I carried my suitcase and laptop and put them in my own bedroom. Then I returned to the living room and started playing with the 3 little angels. Eldest, it is daddy, hurry up and call me daddy. Second, you little cutie, give me a kiss. Youngest, you little lazy pig, still sleeping in. While I was playing with the 3 babies, Tang Yusin had already finished washing the sunshades and cushions and hung them up on the balcony to dry. When she returned to the living room and saw me playing with the children, she felt a warm feeling in her heart. She really hoped these kinds of days could last forever. Let the babies sleep in my room tonight. Just then, I suddenly looked up at Tang Yusin. From now on, I will take care of the babies at night. You rest well and replenish your energy so you won't be sleepy during class. Can you handle it by yourself? Tang Yusin was still a little worried. After all, I had just started interacting with the babies and did not have much experience. No problem, do not worry, I said confidently. I can handle it on my own. You have to believe in your man, right? Thank you. Seeing my resolute attitude, Tang Yusin could only let me have my way. Hearing the words, your man, Tang Yusin's cheeks still flushed unconsciously. Hearing her, thank you, I frowned. I stood up, walked over to Tang Yusin, and pulled her into my arms. Tang Yusin tensed up instantly, her soft body suddenly turning stiff. Her breathing quickened as well. What are you doing? I looked down at Tang Yusin and said, did not I tell you? There is no need for the words, thank you, between us. These are all things I should be doing. Since I said I would give you and the babies a happy life, then I definitely will do it. With that, I kissed Tang Yusin's red lips. Tang Yusin trembled all over. An unprecedented flutter instantly spread through her entire body. Tang Yusin could not help but let out a soft moan, wanting to push me away. But I held her firmly, unable to move. In the end, I kissed her passionately a few times, before slowly letting her go. Seeing Tang Yusin's shy demeanor, I felt incredibly smug. Tang Yusin's pretty face was blushing bright red as she glared at me fiercely. Tang Yusin said in a low voice, her face flushed, why you are really too bad. From now on, you are not allowed to kiss me without my permission. I did not expect my surprise attack to actually succeed. Yes, wifey, I replied, pretending to be respectful. Who is your wifey? Hearing this, Tang Yusin's face turned slightly red. Although I had called her that more than once, every time she heard it, an indescribable joy blossomed in her heart. I chuckled and continued to tease, whoever just spoke is my wifey. Tang Yusin glared at me, puffing her cheeks in anger. However, seeing my harmless expression, Tang Yusin could not bring herself to hit me and could only pinch me. When we are at school, can you not act like this? I naturally knew what Tang Yusin wanted to say. Before she could finish, I said, do not worry. I know your concerns. I will be mindful of the boundaries, but at home you are my wifey. Tang Yusin murmured, her voice as soft as a mosquito. Then she turned away shyly and ran into the bedroom. Tang Yusin was very moved in her heart. The children's father was very understanding of her. I never expected that Tang Yusin would actually agree this time. It seems it is about time to push our relationship forward a bit. That night, Tang Yusin lay with her eyes wide open, staring blankly at the ceiling. Various thoughts flashed through her mind. Finally, she could not hold on any longer, and fell into a deep sleep. On the other side, I covered the babies with their blankets, and then placed the diapers and baby bottles by the bed. After all the preparations were complete, I took a medicine bottle out of my pocket. Inside was none other than the marrow-cleansing pill. I took out the pill and swallowed it directly. As the marrow-cleansing pill entered my stomach, a warm current surged through my limbs and bones. The feeling was absolutely incredible. I closed my eyes and focused, feeling the medicinal effects of the marrow-cleansing pill. A layer of black impurities slowly oozed out onto my body. I knew this meant the marrow-cleansing pill had started working. About 5 minutes later, I rushed to the bathroom and took a quick shower. After washing off the grime on my body, I stood in front of the mirror and examined myself. I found that my figure had become taller and more robust. My muscles were also much firmer. My skin was fairer, and even my facial features had become more defined. My overall physical appearance had reached a whole new level. I clenched my fists, feeling an endless amount of power within my body. I picked up a mouthwash cup. With just a gentle squeeze, I crushed the cup into pieces. The effect of this marrow-cleansing pill was even stronger than I had imagined. I just wondered if the children's mother would be completely mesmerized by me when she saw this change. I thought to myself that I need to find an opportunity to push our relationship further. Early the next morning, I heard a knock on the door. I subconsciously said, come in. I looked at Tang Yusin as she walked into the room. My gaze fell on her exquisite, graceful figure, and I could not help but stare blankly for a moment. Tang Yusin looked exceptionally beautiful today. A pair of long, fair and beautiful legs, coupled with her unmistakable curves, made me steal a few more glances. Seeing me, Tang Yusin also froze. This man seemed to have become even more handsome and charming. He even seemed to have abs now. How is it not bad, right? I grinned and chuckled. Tang Yusin stared blankly, and subconsciously nodded, but soon she felt that her response was a bit too intimate. She hurriedly shook her head, and a charming blush instantly flooded her pretty face, making her look extraordinarily captivating. Seeing Tang Yusin like this, I suddenly stepped forward and pulled her by the waist. Then I lowered my voice and said, what do you think? It is still early, do we want to? You hooligan. Feeling the changes in my body, Tang Yusin felt both shy and indignant. She pushed me away and fled back to her own room. Shutting the door behind her, Tang Yusin touched her cheeks. They were burning hot. Her heart was also pounding wildly. This guy, Xiaofei, is really too shameless. They had only known each other for less than 2 days, and he already wanted to take advantage of her. But how did Xiaofei suddenly become so handsome after just one night? He was breathtakingly handsome. Even those popular young male idols, compared to him, would pale in comparison, and that physique of his Is that something a college student should have? No, I must maintain my composure. I can't let him think that I am an easy woman. Tang Yusin patted her cheeks, trying to clear her head, but all that filled her mind was my masculine and handsome face from just now, along with the robust feeling she felt when I held her. Oh no, what am I thinking? Wawa just then. Crying sounds from the room pulled Tang Yusin back to reality. She hurriedly opened the door and ran to my bedroom. At this time, I had already gone to wash up, leaving only the 3 babies lying in the crib. 2 of the little ones were still sound asleep. Only the youngest had her mouth wide open, crying loudly. Seeing this, Tang Yusin hurriedly picked up the youngest. First, she checked her diaper. She did not make a stinky. It seems she must be hungry. At this moment, I returned to the bedroom after washing up. Seeing the youngest crying pitifully, I did not continue teasing Tang Yusin. Instead, I picked up a baby bottle and started preparing formula. Holding the youngest, Tang Yusin could not help but steal glances at me. What kind of magic does this man possess? Why am I falling for him so quickly? Tang Yusin felt that her maiden heart was gradually being captivated by the man in front of her. Help, Tang Yusin kept telling herself internally not to let her imagination run wild. I quickly finished preparing the formula. I handed the bottle to Tang Yusin and said with a smile, "You feed the baby first. I will go make breakfast for you." Tang Yusin blushed and nodded. Watching my departing figure, Tang Yusin's heart beat even faster. She almost dropped the baby bottle in her hand. I am so embarrassing. In the kitchen, I was showing off my skills, making breakfast for Tang Yusin. Not long after, a rich aroma wafted out from the kitchen. Smelling the aroma, Tang Yusin walked curiously to the kitchen door. Seeing me busy inside, she said softly, "Breakfast does not need to be so lavish. It is not just breakfast." I turned around, revealing a warm smile. "Eating at the cafeteria every noon, how can you keep up your nutrition? This is the lunch I prepared for you." Hearing this, Tang Yusin suddenly understood. It turned out Xiao Fei had not just cooked breakfast for her, he had even prepared lunch. Tang Yusin was incredibly moved, a strange feeling welling up in her heart. She bit her lip, stepped forward uncharacteristically, and hugged me tightly from behind. Then she whispered in my ear, "Thank you. Why are you being so polite with me?" I smiled and tapped the tip of her nose. Gradually, I noticed something a little odd. Tang Yusin seemed to be examining my pectoral muscles. I smiled. "Wifey, you can do it openly." It seemed the marrow cleansing pills effect was even more potent than I imagined. It was incredibly attractive to Tang Yusin. Hearing her thoughts exposed by me, Tang Yusin's pretty face instantly turned bright red. She hastily pulled her hands away and fled the kitchen in a panic. I smiled helplessly, and my hands moved even faster. Before long, an exquisite lunch was carefully packed by me. Before heading out, I handed the bento box to Tang Yusin. Seeing that Tang Yusin did not seem to be wearing any makeup, I felt a twinge of guilt. How could my woman live so plainly? It seemed that not only did I need to buy things for the babies, but I should also buy some daily necessities for their mother. After Tang Yusin left, I also arrived at the campus. I had an international finance class this morning. I had promised Tang Yusin that my studies would not fall behind. So naturally, I would not skip class without a reason. Walking on campus, I pondered over my future plans. The system had rewarded me with 1.5 million in total. I took out 200,000 to give to Tang Yusin for living expenses. Now, I had less than 1.3 million left. Although this sum seemed like a lot, it definitely was not enough to raise 3 children. Not to mention I was now in the Magic City and would need to buy a house in the future. So, I had to find a way to make more money. Relying solely on the money I had on hand was certainly not enough. But fortunately, I had the stock market trend chart rewarded by the system. Using this 1.3 million as capital and utilizing the stock market trend chart, making tens of millions in the share market should still be very easy. I believed it would not be long before I made enough money to buy a house. Approaching noon in the teacher's office, Jiang Yu, the female teacher sitting across from Tang Yusin, suddenly stood up. She raised her arms and cheered, "Off work, off work. Miss Tang, this noon, let us go out together and treat ourselves to a good meal." Tang Yusin, who was grading homework, smiled wryly upon hearing this. "No thanks, I brought my own lunch today." "You brought lunch?" Female teacher Jiang Yu looked surprised. Since the semester started, Tang Yusin had been eating at the staff cafeteria every day. Why did she suddenly bring her own lunch today? Did you make it yourself? No, Tang Yusin smiled sweetly. The children's father made it. Your husband? Jiang Yu's mouth fell open. Wow, Miss Tang, your husband even made you a bento made with love. I'm so jealous, so jealous. My deadbeat at home. When I came to work, he was still sleeping in. Comparisons really do kill. As soon as she said this, all the teachers in the office looked over. They all knew Tang Yusin had children, but they had never seen or heard her mention her husband. So everyone assumed she was divorced and raising the kids alone. But now, she actually brought a bento made with love to work. This was quite a shock. Facing everyone's envious gazes, Tang Yusin quietly took out the bento box and opened the lid. The aroma of the food instantly filled the entire office. Jiang Yu, who was closest to Tang Yusin, suddenly shot up from her chair. She stared eagerly at the bento box in Tang Yusin's hands. This smells incredibly good. It is actually braised chicken, my favorite. Miss Tang, can I have a taste? Just like Tang Yusin, Jiang Yu was also a newly hired female teacher at Jiaodong University. Coupled with the fact that they were similar in age, they quickly became close friends who talked about everything. Tang Yusin knew Jiang Yu was a foodie, so she directly picked up a spoon, scooped up a piece of chicken, and handed it to Jiang Yu. Miss Jiang, have a taste. Jiang Yu did not hold back either. She ate the chicken piece in one bite. The rich sauce flavor, the tender chicken, combined with the vegetable aroma of green peppers and potatoes. It was absolutely divine. Jiang Yu's eyes widened instantly. She hastily praised, the taste is top-notch. It is 10,000 times better than the ones made in restaurants outside. She was starting to get a little jealous now. Then, Jiang Yu looked at another thermos container. She could not help but ask, Miss Tang, what is in that container? Tang Yusin smiled and opened the other container. The aroma instantly spilled out. Inside was a large bowl filled to the brim of collagen-rich mom's trotter soup. Gulp. Tang Yusin could almost hear the sound of Jiang Yu secretly swallowing her saliva. Tang Yusin suggested, how about you do not go out to eat and we eat together? He prepared a very generous portion for me. It is absolutely no problem for two people to eat. I certainly would not let my own wifey go hungry. Is that really okay? Although Jiang Yu said this, she had already sat down. Just like that, the two began to eat. There is no harm without comparison. Compared to the usual takeout they ordered, the food I cooked was practically a royal delicacy. As Jiang Yu ate, she felt like she was about to ascend to heaven. Words of praise kept pouring from her lips. After finishing my morning classes, I did not rush home. Instead, I found a cool spot to sit down and opened the stock trading app on my phone. Check the time. There was still more than half an hour until the market closed for the noon break. I wanted to use this time to carefully study the stock market. To make enough money to buy a house in a short period, I had to rely on the stock market trend chart. To make a huge profit in the stock market, opening the stock trading app, I filled in my basic information. Then I communicated with an account manager. Before long, I successfully opened an account with a brokerage. The stock market trend chart acted like a passive skill. As long as I possessed this function, for every stock I looked at, its yield curve for the next 7 days would appear right before my eyes. When various stocks popped up on my phone screen, I found that next to these stocks, there was a line of small text that only I could see. Seeing these small prompt texts, I could not suppress the corners of my mouth from turning up. This is just too freaking awesome. With these prompts, is not it basically an open book exam? If I still lose money trading stocks like this, then I could only say I was completely blind. I clicked on one of the stocks. Soon, the line of small text next to it disappeared, and was immediately followed by the trend chart for this stock over the next week. This trend chart even considerately marked out which point was best to buy the dip, and which point to sell for the highest profit. With a cheat like this, it would be hard not to make money. However, I was in urgent need of money right now. The million or so I had on me would basically be gone after paying the down payment for a house. So I must make quick money now. The more money I could make in a short time, the better. I started scanning the overall stock market, looking for the stock with the most volatile curve over the next few days. I quickly found my target stock and invested all 1 million into it. If I bought this stock now, it would reach its peak in 2 days. But soon after, it would plummet back to the bottom. And what I needed to do was to clear out this stock right before it plummeted, investing 1 million now. When the time comes, I could make at least several million in profit. After buying the stock, I whistled and walked towards the school gate. When I got home, I happened to hear the babies crying inside. I hurriedly changed into my slippers and walked into the bedroom. Who is crying? I leaned in closer. Aunt Wang was coaxing the baby. Seeing me return, she said in surprise, Mr. Xiao, you are off work so early. Yeah, I nodded. I did not explain that I was actually still a student. Instead, I reached out and took the baby from Aunt Wang's arms. I was thinking about the children, so I came back early to see them. Mr. Xiao, you are truly a good father. Fathers who keep their children in their hearts like this are rare nowadays. Aunt Wang praised me generously. I smiled but did not say anything. Instead, I looked down at the baby, and found that it was indeed the second child crying. Among the 3 babies, the second one loved to cry the most. I just fed the baby formula, and checked the diaper too. I just do not know why the second one is crying. Aunt Wang explained softly from the side. When the second baby saw that her daddy had arrived, she instantly stopped crying. Then she widened her big eyes, and looked at me pitifully. It seemed she was complaining to me, "Why are you only coming back now? There, second baby, do not cry." I stroked her soft, pink cheeks. At this time, seeing me back, the eldest and the youngest also stretched out their chubby little hands and waved at me. I put the second baby back on the bed, then picked up the eldest and the youngest, leaving a kiss on their faces. I finally went into the kitchen to start preparing lunch. Before long, an aroma wafted out from the kitchen. Aunt Wang, who was looking after the children, could not help but swallow her saliva. She thought to herself, Mr. Zhao's culinary skills are truly exceptional. Aunt Wang, let us eat together. Mr. Xiao, I would feel bad. Aunt Wang said that, but her body honestly walked over. Originally, she had planned to just make some instant noodles to make do. But my cooking skills were simply too incredible. Anyone who tasted my cooking would be unable to resist the allure of the food. After lunch, I returned to my room. I took out my laptop and started studying the stock market situation. The afternoon passed by very quickly. At 5 p.m. sharp, Tang Yusen returned home on time. Baby's mommy's home. As soon as she entered, Tang Yusen called out into the apartment. She did not notice at all that I was sitting on the living room sofa right then, holding a baby and smiling at her. Yusen, you are back. Seeing this heartwarming scene, a long-lost smile appeared on Tang Yusen's face. Seeing me, Tang Yusen's pretty face felt a bit hot. She quickly changed into her slippers and walked inside. She picked up the eldest, who was the only one not being held. Everyone has someone holding them, except for my eldest. Come, let mommy hold you. Held in Tang Yusen's arms, the eldest tightly grasped her clothes with his little hands, making babbling sounds. This action made Tang Yusen blush crimson. After all, I was still sitting right there. Are you hungry, little one? Saying so, Tang Yusen put the eldest down to go prepare formula for him. Check the time. It was almost time for dinner, so I got up and went into the kitchen. Soon, the sound of clattering pots and pans rang out from the kitchen. Tang Yusen, who was feeding the eldest formula, saw me busy in the kitchen, and subconsciously remembered what happened at noon today. The corners of her mouth could not help but turn up, revealing a sweet smile. Miss Tang, what happy thing did you think of? Aunt Wang asked with a face full of curiosity. Oh, just lunch today. Tang Yusen briefly recounted what happened at noon to Aunt Wang. She mimicked Jiang Yu's exaggerated expression while eating vividly, making Aunt Wang laugh continuously. Mr. Zhao's cooking is indeed excellent. Even I could not resist eating a few extra bowls of rice at noon today. Miss Tang, your husband is truly outstanding. Husband, I guess so. Tang Yusen glanced at me in the kitchen, not knowing what she was thinking about. Her cheeks flushed red instantly. After dinner, Tang Yusen was washing dishes in the kitchen. I took the opportunity to walk in and said to her, Wifey, how about I wash them? Hearing the word wifey, Tang Yusen's body stiffened. She almost dropped the dishes in her hands onto the floor. And no need, Tang Yusen was a little flustered. Very good. She actually did not reject being called wifey. It seems I can take things a step further. I gently hugged Tang Yusen's waist from behind. Wifey, my deep voice sounded by Tang Yusen's ear. Tang Yusen's body trembled. She felt as if her entire heart was about to leap out of her throat. What does this guy want to do now? Then I whispered, when we have time some other day, let us go together and get the baby's birth certificate sorted out. Tang Yusen nodded obediently. She did not expect that I hugged her, just to talk about this. However, the baby's birth certificates indeed needed to be sorted out promptly. Right now, the babies only had temporary medical certificates. She had not gotten around to applying for their formal birth certificates. Originally, Tang Yusen was still worrying about this matter, although she could go and apply for the birth certificates by herself. Tang Yusen did not want the father's column on the children's birth certificates to be blank. Originally, she had already given up hope, prepared to raise the 3 babies alone. But my appearance had given her a glimmer of hope again. Seeing Tang Yusen agree, I continued, besides the birth certificates, there is also the matter of registering the baby's household registration. plan to tell my parents about us in a couple of days. What about you? Hearing me mention household registration, Tang Yusin's brows immediately furrowed. Her relationship with me was simply too bizarre. 1. Tang Yusin looked a bit worried. Could Xiao Fei's parents accept her? Furthermore, regarding her own parents, Tang Yusin had fallen out with them a long time ago. Do not worry, my parents are very easy to talk to. They have been wanting me to get married and have a grandson or granddaughter for them to look after. But what about on your end? Are my father-in-law and mother-in-law easy to talk to? Hearing this, Tang Yusin lowered her head. She did not know how to tell me. She did not really want to bring up matters concerning her parents. Seeing this, I could more or less guess a few things. Tang Yusin must have had a falling out with her parents over something. Otherwise, having just given birth to children, how could she be living alone in a rented apartment? A year ago, when they found out I was unexpectedly pregnant, my parents fell out with me. I ran away from home and gave birth to the 3 babies. As she spoke, Tang Yusin's tears streamed down her cheeks. Seeing this made my heart ache. I hugged Tang Yusin tightly, then used my hand to wipe away her tears. I am sorry, I made you suffer. But do not worry with me here. No matter how dissatisfied my parents-in-law are with me, I will resolve it. When there is a problem, we will face it together. From now on, you are no longer alone. Tang Yusin shook her head and said, no, you can't be blamed for this matter. You did not know at the time. I was the one who insisted on having the babies. Hearing this, I felt a little strange. Normally, if a woman has an encounter with a strange man and unexpectedly gets pregnant, should not her first thought be to get an abortion? Perhaps sensing my confusion, Tang Yusin spoke slowly. At the time, after finding out I was pregnant, I went to the hospital for a checkup. The doctor told me that my body is special and it is difficult for me to conceive. If I had an abortion, I might never be able to get pregnant again in the future. So, listening to Tang Yusin's explanation, I suddenly understood. I turned my head and gently kissed Tang Yusin's red lips. I said softly, wifey, you have worked so hard. After saying that, I felt a bit smug again. But come to think of it, I am pretty amazing too. Wifey, it is hard for you to conceive, yet I managed to let you have 3 at once. You smelly hooligan. Tang Yusin was both shy and annoyed as she pinched me hard. I was just feeling sad. Interrupted by me like this, Tang Yusin could not stay sad anymore. The 2 of us quickly finished washing the dishes. Then we returned to the living room and gathered around the 3 babies. Wifey, it is still early right now. How about we take the babies for a stroll in the nearby park? I glanced out the window. The sun had not completely set yet. The afterglow of the setting sun spilled over the city sky, radiating colorful rays of light. Facing my proposal, Tang Yusin nodded in agreement. The babies were already 2 months old. It was perfectly fine to take them out to get some fresh air. Coming downstairs and seeing the brand new Land Rover Defender before her, Tang Yusin was surprised. Is this the new car you bought? Although she knew I had bought a luxury car, seeing it with her own eyes still made her feel a bit shocked. I placed the 3 babies into their safety seats, then folded the strollers and put them in the trunk. Then I turned around, hugged Tang Yusin, and said with a smile, this car is not just mine, it is yours too. Hearing this, Tang Yusin's pretty face turned slightly red. Looking at the gentle gaze in my eyes, Tang Yusin felt incredibly happy. Just then, someone walked over from not far away. Tang Yusin subconsciously pushed me away and hurriedly said, let us get in the car quickly. I smiled and did not say anything more. The 2 of us then got into the car. I started the car and slowly stepped on the gas pedal. Because there were 3 babies in the car, I drove especially carefully. Tang Yusin, sitting in the passenger seat, turned her head to look at the babies. She found that they were perfectly fine. They even seemed to enjoy the car ride. Only then did she turn her head and look at me, who was concentrating on driving. This man is really getting more and more handsome. After interacting for the past few days, Tang Yusin had completely let go of the grudge in her heart. Now she truly liked me. If I had not appeared, she would still have to transfer subways 3 times every day to go to work, raising 3 kids all by herself, living in a dirty, messy, and poor rented apartment. But because of my arrival, her and the baby's living environment had undergone earth-shattering changes. Tang Yusin felt very lucky to be able to have such an outstanding man. Thank you. I turned my head and asked in confusion. Hearing the sudden thank you, I was a bit baffled for a moment, and nothing. Tang Yusin hurriedly waved her hand. Her cheeks flushed red. Who knew what she was thinking about? Right at this moment, the system's voice suddenly rang out. Congratulations to the host for completing the task of taking your wife and children on an outing for the first time. Reward, a 280 square meter luxury flat in Jinyu Huafu. Relevant paperwork, property certificates, and keys have all been placed in the vehicle's storage compartment. The house is fully furnished and decorated, with a great environment, ready to move in at any time. Bonus reward, 2 parking spaces plus 5 years of property management fees. A 280 square meter luxury flat in Jinyu Huafu, and it comes with 2 parking spaces and 5 years of property management fees. My God, system, you are way too generous. You have to realize, Jinyu Huafu is a famous residential complex in the Magic City. The price per square meter goes up to 80,000 yuan. Converting this luxury flat into cash, that is a whole 20-something million. System, I truly love you to death. Xiaofei, what are you giggling about? Seeing me gripping the steering wheel and giggling foolishly, Tang Yusin could not help but ask curiously, and nothing. Just then, the red light at the intersection turned green. I turned the steering wheel and drove directly towards another road. Hey, you took the wrong way. Were not we supposed to go straight to the park? Tang Yusin hurriedly reminded me. It is not wrong, this is the right way. I smiled and said mysteriously, I bought a gift for you. I am taking you to see it now. A gift? What gift? Tang Yusin asked with some curiosity. Hearing the word gift, she also felt a faint anticipation in her heart. Whether the gift was expensive or not, it was still Xiaofei's sentiment towards her. I did not speak, just gave her a mysterious smile. Looking at my expression, it was obvious I wanted to give her a surprise. What exactly is it, acting so mysterious? Tang Yusin muttered softly. She did not continue pressing the matter. You will know when we get there. I smiled and continued driving forward. I drove for about half an hour, before bringing the family to the gates of Jinyu Huafu. Because the vehicle was not registered, the security guard naturally would not let us in. Wifey, there is a document file in the glove compartment on your side. Take it out and give it to me. Tang Yusin opened the glove compartment, and sure enough, she saw a craft paper envelope inside. She took out the craft envelope and handed it to me. I took the envelope and tore it open. Inside were the property ownership certificate, the housing purchase contract, keys, access cards, and everything else. I took out an access card and handed it to the security guard to check. Upon seeing the access card, the security guard immediately gave me a respectful salute. Welcome home, sir. Immediately after, the barrier slowly rose. I drove the Land Rover Defender, carrying Tang Yusin and the 3 babies, into the complex. Hearing the security guard's words just now, Tang Yusin was instantly stunned. She looked at me beside her in disbelief. Her lips trembled as she asked. The security guard just said, "Welcome home." What does that mean? I smiled at her. It means exactly what you are thinking. I handed the craft envelope in my hand over. See for yourself. Tang Yusin took the envelope and saw a property ownership certificate inside. She opened it and found that the certificate prominently bore the name Xiaofei. Moreover, the area of this apartment was actually over 280 square meters. Seeing this, she was even more shocked into silence. One must know, this is a residential complex by the Huangpu River. Every square meter costs at least 80,000 yuan. How much did you spend to buy this apartment? Tang Yusin swallowed hard. Her eyes widened as she looked at me. The children's father is a bit too amazing, is not he? Having an apartment over 280 square meters in this kind of location. Could he be a rich second generation? This apartment, I smiled. I really wanted to say that I did not spend a single dime. But Tang Yusin definitely would not believe it. So I smiled and said, not much, just over 20 million. Over 20 million? You call that not much? Even though she had already guessed in her heart that this apartment was valuable. When Tang Yusin heard me say this number with her own ears, she was still incredibly shocked. After all, this is over 20 million. As a university teacher, she was considered upper middle class in society. But even so, her monthly salary was less than 20,000, calculated at over 200,000 a year. Even if she did not eat or drink, it would take her 100 years to buy this apartment. Thinking of this, Tang Yusin's gaze towards me became full of curiosity. Xiaofei, tell me honestly, what exactly does your family do? You are not a legendary rich second generation out here to experience life, are you? After saying that, Tang Yusin looked at me in disbelief. Hearing this question, I paused for a moment. I thought about it and felt there was no need to hide anything. After all, we were going to meet the parents soon. Letting Tang Yusin understand, my family's situation in advance was also a good thing. My family is quite ordinary. My dad is a state-owned enterprise employee, and my mom is a housewife. I bought this apartment through my own hard work. It has nothing to do with my parents. Bought it through your own hard work. Tang Yusen's gaze towards me filled with admiration. But soon, she seemed to think of something else, and her brows furrowed tightly. An apartment worth over 20 million. How much must the mortgage be? Xiao Fei, you must be under a lot of pressure by yourself, right? Xiao Fei, how about we return the apartment? We still have 3 babies to raise. Seeing Tang Yusen's worried expression, I smiled helplessly and said, this apartment, I bought it in full. There's no mortgage. An apartment worth over 20 million, and you bought it in full directly. Tang Yusen looked at me as if she were looking at an immortal. However, the property ownership certificate was right in front of her eyes, leaving her no choice but to believe it. Xiao Fei, you must not do anything foolish. It does not matter if the babies and I have to endure a little hardship. To be able to afford an apartment worth over 20 million, Tang Yusen was still feeling anxious. She did not want me to take on huge debts because of her. I parked the car, turned around, and held Tang Yusen's hands tightly. Wifey, do not worry, I have not done anything foolish. At first, I made over 100,000 by writing novels. Then I took this money and invested it in the stock market, slowly accumulating an initial capital fund. At this point I paused, then said jokingly, it was so hard to save up 20 million. And after buying this apartment, my pockets are completely clean. So wifey, from now on, you will have to support me. Seeing my goofy expression, Tang Yusen could not help but laugh out loud. Stop being a glib talker. I'm being serious. Alright, just live here with peace of mind. After we meet our parents, I will add your name to the deed too. Hearing this, Tang Yusen was incredibly moved. She did not care whether her name was written on the property certificate or not. The fact that I brought it up on my own initiative meant that I had her in my heart. Thank you, Xiao Fei. Thank you for being so good to me. Right now, I feel like I am lucky to have met you. I gave a wicked smile, then leaned into Tang Yusen's ear, and whispered, wifey, then how do you plan to thank me tonight? Hearing my words, Tang Yusen's face instantly flushed crimson. I hate you, you are never serious. Tang Yusen playfully rolled her eyes at me. Then she opened the car door and stepped out first with her long, beautiful legs. Looking at Tang Yusen's graceful and charming back figure, a meaningful smile appeared on my face. I thought to myself, tonight, I must find a way to conquer her. At this moment, I was leading Tang Yusen, who was pushing the stroller, to apartment 808 in Jinyu Huafu. Standing at the door, I extended my thumb and pressed it on the fingerprint scanner. In the next second, the door opened. I was not in a hurry to go in. Instead, I walked up to Tang Yusen and took her hand. Come, let me help you register your fingerprint. The system had already registered mine, but not Tang Yusen's. Tang Yusen blushed and smiled, letting me hold her hand and register her fingerprint into the access control system. After registering the fingerprint, I stepped sideways to make way and then made a welcoming gesture towards Tang Yusen. Wifey, please come in and take a look at our cozy little nest for the future. Tang Yusen pursed her lips, a smile on her face, and said sweetly, "Hey hubby." With an excited heart, Tang Yusen pushed the stroller and walked in first. That hubby from Tang Yusen made my heart bloom with joy. Having such a beautiful wife felt like a dream. Wow, just as she stepped through the door, Tang Yusen let out a gasp of amazement. This apartment was decorated extremely luxuriously, comparable to a 5-star hotel. In the massive living room sat a curved screen TV over 100 inches in size. It is really so beautiful. Tang Yusen felt as if she had stepped into a dream. She could not believe all of this was real. I smiled and said, "How is it, wifey, do you like it?" The system was also very considerate, knowing I had 3 babies. It directly gave me a 4-bedroom apartment. I love it. Tang Yusen nodded vigorously like a pestle pounding garlic. This was a scene she would not have dared to even imagine before. She never thought it would actually come true now. Filled with curiosity, Tang Yusen walked into the master bedroom. Wow, there is even a bathtub. Seeing that there was actually a huge, circular bathtub in the master bathroom, Tang Yusen could not help but exclaim, "Xiao Fei, this is too amazing. What did you say?" Hearing this, I immediately put on a stern face. I stepped close to her and directly pinned Tang Yusen against the bathtub. "You just called me hubby, and now you are calling me by my name again." Hearing this, Tang Yusen blinked, looking a bit embarrassed. Feeling my hot breath, Tang Yusen's pretty face instantly turned red, and her delicate body trembled slightly. This man is too bad, seizing every opportunity to bully me. Hubby, Tang Yusen said shyly. "Good girl." The corners of my mouth curled up. I leaned down and kissed Tang Yusen's lips. Tang Yusen's mind instantly went blank. For a moment, she did not know what to do. Right at this moment, The baby in the living room suddenly cried out. Tang Yusin instantly regained her senses, pushed me away and ran out. Little darling, what is wrong? Are you hungry? In the living room, the eldest baby lay in the stroller, constantly squirming his body. He probably pooped. I followed her to the living room and said softly. Then I squatted down and picked up the eldest. Upon close inspection, he had indeed made a stinky. After changing the eldest's diaper, Tang Yusin and I stood on the balcony, overlooking the sunset view of the Magic City. So beautiful. Looking at the lights, illuminating the Huangpu River owned by own, Tang Yusin subconsciously linked her arm through mine, and her body slowly leaned towards me. Although Tang Yusin and I had been intimate before and even had children, between us, it felt just like a first love. Wifey, let us move over here tomorrow. From now on, I will drive you to school in the morning. It is perfect since I have classes to attend too. Tang Yusin nodded sweetly, but she quickly thought of something and suddenly said, then what about the children? If we move tomorrow, Aunt Wang will have to change locations again. This place is quite far from Aunt Wang's home. She would not mind moving here with me, but Aunt Wang could not possibly travel from far away every single day, just to take care of the babies, right? It is fine. I stroked Tang Yusin's beautiful hair, and said with a smile, the babies are still young, and we have so many rooms here. We can totally have Aunt Wang move in with us. In the future, the babies can even sleep with Aunt Wang at night, and we won't be disturbed. We need to have our own private space for the two of us, do not we? Hearing this, who knows what Tang Yusin thought of, her pretty face blushing slightly. Alright then, Tang Yusin agreed. Just then her phone suddenly rang. She took it out and looked, and her expression instantly changed. She realized the caller ID actually said Mom. Hubby, what should I do? My mom is calling, Tang Yusin said in a panic. She probably had not realized that when she encountered problems now, she had already habitually started to rely on me. I held her trembling hand, and said with a firm gaze, it is okay. Answer it. I am here for everything. Tang Yusin nodded. Then she turned on the speakerphone and pressed the answer button. After the call connected, Tang Yusin spoke somewhat nervously. Yusin, where are you right now? Tang's mother's anxious voice came from the other end of the line. 1. I am in the Magic City. What is wrong, Mum? Is something the matter? Tang Yusin answered without thinking. I know that. I am asking where you are living right now. I have already arrived at the Magic City airport. I am preparing to head to where you live now. Hearing this, Tang Yusin's eyes widened sharply. She began to feel a little flustered. Her mother had come to the Magic City. I was also quite surprised. I did not expect my mother-in-law to come to the Magic City so abruptly without a sound. Seeing this, I took her hand and mouthed to her, tell your mom to come over here. Then I gave Tang Yusin a reassuring look. Seeing my gaze, Tang Yusin seemed to calm down considerably. She hesitated for a moment, then took a deep breath and spoke into the phone. Mom, I am at the Jinyu Huafu area right now. Alright, I will call a car to go there now. From the airport to the Huangpu River area, it takes over an hour. If she runs into a traffic jam, it will take even longer. Therefore, I also dispelled the idea of taking Tang Yusin along to pick up my mother-in-law. After all, we still had 3 babies to look after. How have you been recently? How are the children? Right then, Tang's mother on the other end of the line asked again. I am doing very well, and the children are well too. They are already 2 months old. They are triplets. Hearing the question, Tang Yusin replied without even thinking. Triplets. Hearing this, Tang's mother was completely stunned. You child. Why did not you say so earlier? Your dad was angry back then and scolded you a few times. But giving birth to triplets is such a huge matter. Why did not you tell Mom? Tang's mother's tone revealed a deep sense of self-blame. 1. Tang Yusin wanted to explain, but suddenly choked up. She wiped the tears from her face, forced a smile and said, Mom, do not worry. I am living very well now. The children's father is very good to us. We are very happy now. Saying this, Tang Yusin cast a shy glance at me. You found the children's father. Did not you say you did not know who the children's father was? Tang's mother said in surprise. Mom, this matter can't be explained clearly in a short while. I will tell you when you get here. The children's father is also here, Tang Yusin said into the phone. Okay, I am coming right now. With that, Tang's mother hung up the phone. Her heart was also filled with curiosity about this father of the children. Just who was this man who had abandoned her daughter? An hour later, the two of us, sitting in the living room watching TV, while playing with the babies, suddenly heard Tang Yusin's phone on the table ring again. Yusin, I have arrived at this Jinyu Huafu place. Do you really live here? This place looks like it is not cheap. Tang's mother's tone on the phone was clearly full of surprise. This is it. I will come down and get you right now. After hanging up the phone, Tang Yusin quickly gave me a peck, put on her shoes, and went clattering down the stairs. Along the way, as she got closer and closer to the complex entrance, Tang Yusin's mood became increasingly nervous and anxious. She remembered a year ago, when her parents found out she was unexpectedly pregnant, they told her to get an abortion, and even slapped her. She still could not forget the events of that night. Finally, after hurrying, Tang Yusin arrived at the complex entrance, and saw that familiar figure. Tang Yusin called out. Not far away, a dignified woman turned around, and saw Tang Yusin. Yusin, because of Tang Yusin's appearance. Tang Yusin's mother was also allowed in by the security guards. She walked quickly over to Tang Yusin, and examined her carefully, seeing that her complexion was rosy and she was full of energy, not looking like she had suffered at all. A relieved smile finally appeared on Tang's mother's face. Looking at her mother in front of her, Tang Yusin could not help but throw herself forward, hugging her mother tightly, and crying loudly in her arms. There, do not cry. Tang's mother gently patted her daughter's shoulder, comforting her. It is Mom's fault. Mom should not have said such harsh words to you, and I should not have ignored you after you ran away from home. Mom is so sorry. Hearing this, Tang Yusin cried even harder. Mom, it is not your fault, it is me. I was wrong, boo-hoo, Tang Yusin said amidst her sobs. It took a good while before she slowly calmed down. Then, looking a bit shy, she held her mother's hand, and walked in the direction of our home. On the way back, Tang's mother could not help but ask, Yusin, what exactly is your situation now? What is going on between you and the children's father? Tang Yusin hesitated for a moment, then slowly said, Did not I tell you before, that I was in a bad mood at the time, and ran to a bar to drink? Then I unexpectedly had an encounter with a man. Tang Yusin paused, then continued explaining, You and Dad both knew about this. Later, I fell out with you guys. I ran to the Magic City by myself, and gave birth to the 3 babies. In order to support the babies, I found a job as a teaching assistant at Jiaodong University in the Magic City, and then I unexpectedly met Xiao Fei, who is the children's father. Saying this, Tang Yusin specifically glanced at her mother, and found that she did not look repulsed. Only then did she continue, I know you guys are all angry at me, but Xiao Fei did not abandon me on purpose. He did not know I was unexpectedly pregnant, and that day he was just as drunk as I was. Ever since we reunited, he has taken great care of me and the babies. Moreover, for me and the children, he even took out all his savings, and spent over 20 million to buy an apartment here. Along the way, Tang Yusin told her mother many things about me. When Tang's mother heard that I had actually taken out 20 million to buy an apartment here, the shock in her eyes intensified. She began to become somewhat hesitant. Yusin, how old is the children's father? To be able to take out so much money to buy an apartment here, he definitely can't be young, right? She certainly did not want her daughter marrying some terrible old man. Xiao Fei, he is very young, even a few years younger than me. Saying this, Tang Yusin even felt a little embarrassed. Not only is he a few years younger, but he is also her own student. Hearing Tang Yusin's words, Tang's mother's brows furrowed even tighter. Younger than you, where did he get so much money? What does his family do? Tang's mother continued to press. After all, regarding the messed up affairs of rich families, Tang's mother had heard far too much. Would her daughter suffer any disadvantage being with him? Tang Yusin did not notice her mother's abnormality, and happily introduced, his family is quite ordinary. Just like us, they are from Sichuan and Chongqing. His dad is a state-owned enterprise employee, and his mom is a housewife. The money he used to buy the apartment was all earned by himself. To buy this apartment, he spent all of his savings. Towards the end, Tang Yusin even felt a little guilty. If it were not for her, I would not have spent so much money to buy an apartment here. But on second thought, now that they had their own home, they would not have to move all the time in the future. This was also a good thing for the baby's growth. Hearing her daughter's introduction, Tang's mother finally felt relieved. This Xiao Fei seemed pretty decent. He was responsible and capable himself. However, as for the specifics, Tang's mother planned to evaluate him after they met. If she found anything amiss, she would absolutely not agree to her daughter being with me. After all, he had to truly treat her daughter well. There are plenty of rich people out there. Meanwhile, sitting on the sofa, I was trembling with fear. Although I acted calm in front of Tang Yusin, this was, after all, the first time facing my mother-in-law. What if she disagreed and wanted to break my legs? At this moment, the sound of the door opening echoed. I knew that what was meant to come had finally arrived. At this moment I was sitting on the sofa, trembling with fear, terrified that my mother-in-law would break my legs if I said the wrong thing. We are back. In front of her mother, Tang Yusin was too embarrassed to call me hubby. In the living room, I was playing with the 3 babies. Hearing Tang Yusin's voice, I immediately stood up and straightened my clothes. Then I walked to the door and opened it. I maintained a smile, trying my best to suppress my inner nervousness. Yusin, you are back. I saw a middle-aged woman standing next to Tang Yusin at the door. This middle-aged woman was around 50 years old. She had fair skin and elegant, dignified features. She looked quite like an aristocratic lady. This must be Auntie, right? Hello, Auntie. My name is Xiao Fei. I am Yusin's boyfriend, and also the father of the children. I went up to them and greeted her politely. Looking at me in front of her, a flash of amazement crossed Tang's mother's eyes. What a handsome young man. And he looks so young too. Before meeting me, Tang's mother had wondered what kind of person I would be, but she absolutely never expected that I would be this handsome, even compared to those male celebrities. He would not pale in comparison. However, a man just having good looks is of no use. Tang's mother raised her head and sized me up with a scrutinizing gaze. She noticed my robust physique and masculine appearance, and that I seemed very composed and principled in my demeanor. First impression, perfect score. Tang's mother nodded slowly and said, "Hello, Xiao Fei. I am Yusin's mother. My name is Qin Yue. Hello, Auntie. Let us go inside to talk. No need to take off your shoes. Yusin and I just came over to look at this apartment today too. We are planning to move in tomorrow, so we have not had time to clean it yet. A newly bought apartment." Hearing this, Tang's mother became even more curious. She followed Tang Yusin and me into the apartment. Looking at the bright living room, the luxurious decor, and the gorgeous river view outside, Tang's mother felt entirely dazzled. But soon she shifted her attention to the 3 babies not far away. She saw the 3 babies sitting on the sofa, playing happily. Looking at Tang's mother walking over, the 3 babies seemed a little scared. Tang Yusin and I hurriedly walked over. Seeing their mommy and daddy, the 3 babies quickly waved their chubby little hands. Are these 3 all my grandchildren? So adorable. Seeing the 3 babies, Tang's mother's heart practically melted. Tang Yusin sat on the sofa and began to introduce them own by own. The biggest own here is the eldest, he is a boy. The own in the middle is the second, and the own next to her is the youngest. They are both girls. Tang Yusin picked up the eldest. Seeing that he was not resisting, she gently placed him into Tang's mother's arms. Tang's mother carefully took the eldest baby, a kind and loving smile appearing on her face. Eldest baby, I am your grandma. Hurry, call me grandma. The eldest baby opened his dark, round eyes and looked at Tang's mother curiously. Then, his little mouth opened slightly, and he started giggling. The eldest is laughing. So well behaved. Hearing the eldest baby's laughter, the smile on Tang's mother's face grew even wider. After playing with the eldest for a while, Tang's mother tried to hold the second and third babies, but those 2 were not as fond of strangers as the eldest. Before she could even pick them up, they started crying loudly. Tang's mother had no choice but to give up. Then she asked, "What are the children's names?" "We have not named them yet." I stepped forward and said, "Auntie, do you have any good ideas?" Tang's mother thought for a few seconds, then shook her head and said, "What to name the children? You 2 can decide that yourselves. By the way, Xiao Fei, where do you work?" Hearing this question, Tang Yusin suddenly grew nervous. She cast a pleading look at me. I smiled at her, then held her hand and gave her a comforting look. "I am here for everything. What is wrong?" Seeing our strange behavior, Tang's mother had a bad feeling. Could Xiao Fei be doing some shady line of work? Thinking carefully about it, without relying on his family, just by himself, managing to save 20 million at such a young age, and even taking it all out to buy a luxury flat in a high-end residential complex. Seeing the expression on Tang's mother's face, I hurriedly explained, "Auntie, I do not have a job yet. I am a student at Modu Jiaodong University." Tang's mother's eyes widened in sheer disbelief. "You're still a student?" "Yes, I am a junior at Modu Jiaodong University. Yusin is a teacher at our school." It was exactly because of this that we bumped into each other at the school gate. A teacher and a student. Hearing this, Tang's mother was incredibly shocked. However, she quickly regained her composure. Times are different now, and they are both adults, and have reached the legal age for marriage. Although she felt a bit awkward about it in her heart, Tang's mother still reluctantly accepted the fact that I was still a student. Soon, a question rose from the bottom of her heart. Xiao Fei, since you are still a student, how did you make that money? I had anticipated that Tang's mother would ask this question, just as I had told Tang Yusin before. I repeated the same story. When I started college, I started writing novels online and made over 100,000 yuan. Then I took this money and invested it in the stock market, slowly accumulating an initial capital fund. Later, I slowly snowballed it, making money from money. It did not take long before I earned over 20 million. After meeting Yusin and learning that we had children, I used this money to buy a car and this apartment. Now I do not have much money left on me. I shrugged my hands and continued, but do not worry, auntie. Since I could make 20 million, I can definitely make even more money. In the future, I absolutely won't let Yusin and the 3 babies suffer any drop in their quality of life. Hearing this, Tang's mother was dumbfounded. She knew that the stock market seemed quite easy to make money in lately, but for a young man in his early 20s, who was still in college, to actually rely on a principal of 100,000 yuan over just a few years, to make over 20 million, this was just a bit too shocking to hear. Xiao Fei, you are truly amazing. Although Tang's mother was somewhat skeptical of my words, such a huge apartment was right in front of her eyes, leaving her no choice but to believe it. However, Xiao Fei, stock trading carries risks. After you graduate, it is better to find a stable job. Unknowingly, Tang's mother had already adopted the posture of a mother-in-law to lecture me. Hearing this, I nodded repeatedly to show that I would not act recklessly. As for taking the civil service exam, I had never even considered it. Now that I have the system by my side, coupled with the assistance of the stock market trend chart, if I did not enter the stock market and reap a massive harvest, would not I be letting down the system's trust? By the way, Yusin and I previously rented an apartment near the school. We originally planned to move over here tomorrow, but since you are here today, why do not we just move in tonight? There are no spare rooms over there for you to rest, auntie. I suddenly proposed. All right, Tang's mother nodded without objection. Immediately, I drove Tang Yusin back to the Rose Garden complex. Tang's mother stayed behind at Jinyu Huafu to look after the 3 babies. Without having to take care of the children, Tang Yusin and I moved extremely fast, because we had just moved yesterday. A lot of luggage had not even been unpacked yet. It was very convenient to pack up. In less than half an hour, we had all the luggage packed up. When we both returned to the new home, Tang Yusin could not help but sigh. I never imagined that we would actually move twice in just 2 short days. Move twice? Tang's mother, who came out to help carry the luggage, asked curiously. I hurriedly explained, Andy, it is like this. Before I reunited with Yusin, she was renting a small 30 square meter apartment alone in the suburbs. After I found out about this, I immediately rented a 3-bedroom apartment for her near the school. Later, feeling that renting was not convenient enough, I just bought an apartment. Hearing this, a gratified smile appeared on Tang's mother's face. Xiao Fei, you are very thoughtful. I chuckled and said, it is nothing. It is all things I should do. By the way, auntie, you probably have not had dinner yet, right? I will go cook for you. Just now when we came to look at the apartment, I opened the refrigerator at home and took a look. I found that it was actually stuffed with all kinds of fresh ingredients. It seems the system is very considerate indeed. Xiao Fei, you know how to cook too? Tang's mother asked in surprise. Before I could speak, Tang Yusin chimed in first. Mom, you have no idea. Xiao Fei's cooking is incredibly delicious. It is even better than what the hotel chefs make outside. Hearing that I was going to cook, Tang Yusin's eyes lit up. After that, I went into the kitchen, hearing the clattering sounds of pots and pans. They knew I had started getting busy. Tang Yusin and Tang's mother sat in the living room, looking toward the kitchen from time to time. The dazzling display left them both repeatedly amazed. With 2 spectators, my cooking techniques also became extra flashy. The hand holding the kitchen knife looked as if it was dancing. The movements were graceful and agile, pleasing to the eye. In less than half an hour, 5 fragrant and delicious dishes were served on the table. To please Tang's mother, I used everything I had learned in my life to make these 4 dishes and own soup. After Tang's mother tasted these dishes, she could not help but praise. Xiao Fei, your craftsmanship is truly fantastic. If you open a restaurant after graduation, you could definitely make a fortune. Auntie, you flatter me, I said with a grin. Compared to those real executive chefs, I still lack a bit. Xiao Fei, you are too modest. Right at that moment, Tang Yusin stuffed food into her mouth. While chiming in, chewing with her cheeks bulging out, she looked extremely adorable. I never expected my own wifey to have such an adorably silly side. looking at her cute appearance. I could not help but laugh. After dinner, Tang's mother pulled Tang Yusin into the bedroom. She left the door ajar, then held Tang Yusin's hand, and said tenderly, "Yusin, it has been hard on you all this time." It is fine." Tang Yusin held her mother's hand in return, comforting her. "I consider this the sweet coming after the bitter. Being with Xiao Fei, I am very happy and very blessed. As long as you are happy." Tang's mother took out a bank card from her pocket, and pressed it into Tang Yusin's hand. "There is 200,000 in here. Your dad gave it to me before I left. The password is your birthday. Do not blame your dad. He is just someone who cares too much about his pride. Actually, he forgave you a long time ago, and he misses you very much. He deeply regrets slapping you back then." Tang Yusin took the bank card, and her eyes immediately turned red. How could she not miss her father? "Yusin, do not worry. After I go back, I will do some ideological work on that old stubborn guy. Wait until he lets go of his pride, then you guys can go back. By the way, that Xiao Fei, do you really think he is reliable?" Tang Yusin nodded and said firmly, "Xiao Fei is very good to me. He is also very attentive to the babies. He is a responsible man." Hearing this, Tang's mother did not know what else to say. She could only nod and say, "All right, just pay more attention in the future." Although from his performance just now, Xiao Fei seems like a very good person. Men are often fickle, loving the new and discarding the old. After being together for a long time, their true nature will be exposed. If you encounter anything unhappy in the future, remember to tell Mom. Mom is here to back you up. If he dares to fool around, I will be the first to not let him off. Tang Yusin pursed her lips, then said, "I know. After interacting with him this past period, I believe Xiao Fei is not that kind of person." Tang's mother sighed. "These next few days, Mom will stay and help you take care of the babies. And at the same time, evaluate Xiao Fei. I will go back only when Mom is at ease." Tang Yusin nodded vigorously. After all, they had not seen each other for so long. She also could not bear to let her mother go back so soon. At the same time, she also believed in me, certain that I could definitely pass her mother's test. In the living room, taking advantage of Tang Yusin and her mother having a heart-to-heart in the bedroom, I took out my phone and called Aunt Wang. I told her about our move, learning that I bought an apartment over at Jinyu Huafu, and wanted her to move over to take care of the babies. Aunt Wang hesitated at first, but quickly agreed. After all, being a maternity matron was her job to begin with, and the salary I offered was much higher than the market rate. Even live and care for the babies was a very normal thing. After finishing the call with Aunt Wang, I returned to the sofa and played with the 3 babies for a while. Then I took out my laptop and opened Bilibili, preparing to see if there were any new anime releases recently. "What are you watching?" Right at this moment, Tang Yusin and Tang's mother walked out of the bedroom. Seeing that I was watching anime, Tang Yusin leaned over curiously and teased, "You're all grown up and you still watch anime." I shrugged and said helplessly, "Who says anime is only for kids? There are plenty of anime meant for adults, alright." Tang Yusin smiled and did not say anything more. Although she did not like watching anime, she was incredibly passionate about Korean dramas. Tang Yusin simply picked up the remote control, pulled her mother to sit on the sofa, and started watching the latest Korean drama. I chased my anime on the side, occasionally teasing the 3 children. The whole family was happy and harmonious. After finishing breakfast, "Aunt Wang, Auntie, I will leave the babies in your care. I'm going to drop Yusin off at work." Tang Yusin kept holding onto my arm, rubbing against it from time to time, which could not help but make my imagination run wild. "Why are you in such a good mood today?" I grinned at Tang Yusin. He, of course. Tang Yusin smiled playfully, learning that her father had already forgiven her. Tang Yusin's mood had not been bad since. Looking at this beautiful woman in front of me, I suddenly remembered something. Then I said, "I only have own class this Friday, so I do not have any classes in the afternoon. What about you?" I happen to have no classes that day either. "What is up?" Tang Yusin looked up at me and asked with some confusion. "Since that is the case, let us go get the baby's birth certificate sorted out." "Okay," Tang Yusin nodded without hesitation. Just then I stopped walking. I looked down at Tang Yusin affectionately and said, "After getting the baby's birth certificates, let us find some time to visit my parents, and then go get our marriage certificate. How does that sound?" Hearing this, Tang Yusin's body suddenly stiffened. Her eyes widened, and she looked at me with an astonished expression, saying, "Are you serious?" "Of course." I smiled and nodded. If it were not to get the babies registered on the household register, I was thinking of waiting until after we held a wedding ceremony to get the certificate with you. But right now, for the sake of the babies, we can only get the certificate first and marry later. After all, getting the babies registered is more important. Although Tang Yusin was very happy in her heart, she said verbally, "Who said I am going to marry you? There has not even been a proposal ceremony." I just smiled and did not speak. How could there not be something as important as a proposal ceremony? Just wait for it. Seeing that I did not continue speaking, Tang Yusin felt a slight sense of disappointment in her heart. But soon, she calmed her emotions. It was just a ceremony, nothing more. Xiao Fei had already sacrificed enough for this family. She could not extravagantly ask for anything else. Seeing the bento box I was holding in my hand, Tang Yusin smiled again. She was already very happy now. There was no need to force anything else. Unknowingly, the two of us arrived at the gate of Modu Jiaodong University. Seeing that the car was about to drive into the campus, Tang Yusin spoke up with some hesitation. "Hubby, could you drop me off here?" "Why?" I asked with a puzzled look on my face. "I am worried about being seen." After saying that, seemingly afraid that I might misunderstand, Tang Yusin added, "You are still a student. If people find out you are with me, it might have a bad impact on you. I do not care. You are the wife I am about to marry, and the mother of my children. What do I have to be afraid of? Let others say whatever they want. I do not care anyway." I paused, then continued, "On the contrary, you are a teacher at the school. If others find out we are together, the impact on you will actually be greater. So I agree with your approach." Saying this, I stepped on the brake and parked the car by the side of the road. However, Tang Yusin did not get out of the car. She hesitated for a moment, then looked at me, and said seriously, "Hubby, since you are not afraid, then what am I afraid of? Just drive straight in. If we get discovered, then we will just admit it. It is not the olden days anymore anyway." Hearing this, I laughed out loud and said, "All right, I will listen to you, wifey." Then I stepped on the gas pedal and drove directly into the school parking lot. Although Tang Yusin said that verbally, before getting out of the car, she still looked around left and right. Only after confirming that there was no one in the parking lot did she push open the car door and quickly slip out. Friday arrived quickly. I only had own class in the morning. After class, the moment the teacher left, I was the first to dash out of the classroom. Looking at me acting so hastily, Zhang Bo's brows furrowed. "Brother Xiao is acting a bit strange lately, even though he rented an apartment outside. There's no need to run off the second class ends every day, right?" Wu Zitao stroked his chin, putting on the appearance of a detective, and said, "I think Brother Xiao must be in a relationship." "In a relationship?" Hearing this, Lu Chao immediately became interested. He chimed in, "Hearing you guys say that, it really is a possibility. Otherwise, why is he in such a hurry to leave class every day? He can't possibly be going home just to play games. Playing games alone is not nearly as fun as all of us playing together." Right at this moment, the class monitor, Lu Yu, passed by. Hearing the three of them discussing, she immediately leaned in and asked gossipily, "What are you guys talking about? Does Xiao Fei have a girlfriend? I was originally very handsome to begin with, coupled with taking the marrow cleansing pill. My current physique and looks had both reached peak levels. When I attended public lectures, many girls who were not from our school would run over to attend class, just to catch a glimpse of my radiance. Some bold ones even confessed to me publicly in front of everyone. However, they were all ruthlessly rejected by me." "Yeah?" Hearing Lu Yu's words, Zhang Bo hurriedly said, "Brother Xiao has moved out to live by himself now. I reckon there is an 80% chance he has got a girlfriend." "Are you saying he is living with someone?" Lu Yu said with some disbelief. Although college students living together was not a rare occurrence, I was the dream idol of all the girls in the school, let alone the girls in the finance department, holding the principle of not letting the good stuff fall into outsiders' hands. Who knows how many girls were coveting a handsome guy like me? The class monitor, Lu Yu, was one of them. Unfortunately, Lu Yu knew her own standing. Although she had a great figure, she lost out because her looks were not outstanding. However, she was warm-hearted and often helped classmates solve their problems, especially those male students who loved to look for her, the class monitor, whether they had a real issue or not. Many people secretly liked her, but what they did not know was that the object of their affection had long been liking someone else. This guy got taken down so quickly. Hearing Zhang Bo's words, Lu Yu pursed her lips in displeasure, feeling sour in her heart. While my roommates were discussing, I had already left the classroom and arrived at the school parking lot. Getting into the car, I was not in a hurry to start the engine. Instead, I opened the stock trading app on my phone. According to the prompts from the stock market trend chart, the stock I purchased would reach its highest point this noon. I timed it perfectly and sold it all off. I bought it for 1 million and sold it at the highest point for a price of 6.2 million. In just 2 short days, I made a net profit of over 5 million. This feeling was absolutely incredible. Of course, this amount of money was nothing. My current principal was too small. If I had enough capital, making tens of millions would be as easy as turning my hand over. After selling the stock, the system's voice echoed in my mind. Congratulations to the host for completing the task of earning milk powder money for the babies. Reward, 5 million in cash. Hearing the system's voice, I could not help but laugh out loud. I had just earned 5 million, and now the system rewarded me with another 5 million. System, you are truly amazing. Looking at that string of numbers lying in my bank account, my mood could not be any more relaxed. In less than a few days, I went from a poor student to a multi-millionaire, living in a huge apartment, driving a luxury car, with tens of millions in my bank account. Even in a place like the Magic City, where rich people are as common as dogs, I could be considered to have a decent amount of assets. Looking at the phone screen, I counted carefully. Right now, in my bank account, I had a total of over 10,050-something thousand in savings. I thought about it and decided to take out 10 million to invest in the stock market. I would keep the remaining 500,000 as a reserve. Having earned so much money, it was also time to buy something for my wife. I always remembered the image of Tang Yusin going out without any makeup, and in the wardrobe of her room, always hanging those same few clothes worn over and over again. Although Tang Yusin was naturally beautiful, and even without dressing up much, it was hard to conceal her noble and elegant temperament. But as my wife, how could she live such a meager life? I must let her wear the most beautiful clothes, put on the most stunning makeup, and be the most dazzling woman. While driving home, I kept thinking about what to buy for Tang Yusin, but the top priority was still to go get the baby's birth certificates first. It did not take long before I arrived home. Tang Yusin did not have classes today, so she did not go to school. Opening the door, I saw Tang Yusin sitting on the sofa watching TV with her mother. Yusin, let us go. While they have not gotten off work yet, let us go get the baby's birth certificates. Hey, hearing this, Tang Yusin immediately stood up from the sofa and walked to my side with a smile. Seeing this, Tang's mother also put down the remote control in her hand and followed Tang Yusin out the door. Arriving at the underground parking lot, I sat in the driver's seat. Tang Yusin sat in the passenger seat. Tang's mother and Aunt Wang, who came along, sat in the middle row, and in the back row safety seats were the 3 little dumplings. Just like that, the whole family set off in a mighty procession, driving towards the maternal and child health hospital in the suburbs of the Magic City. I looked at the map navigation, driving carefully. Xiaofei, this car of yours is not cheap, right? How much does it cost? On the way, Tang's mother could not help but ask. It is all right, less than 1 million, I said seriously while driving without turning my head. Hearing this, Tang's mother revealed an expression of surprise. For an average family, being able to have a commuter car worth around 200,000 was already very good. But at my young age, not only did I buy a large apartment in the Magic City, but the car I drove was also in the million yuan class. Towards this prospective son-in-law, Tang's mother was becoming more and more satisfied. By the way, Yusin, while waiting at a red light, I suddenly spoke up. My junior year courses are basically coming to an end. It does not matter if I go to classes or not now. What do you think if I just ask for leave and take care of the babies full-time at home? No, Tang Yusin refused without even thinking. You should honestly go to school. Getting your diploma is the most secure thing to do. Tang's mother also chimed in from the side to object. Xiaofei, you are still studying now. Your studies are the most important. You do not have to worry about the children. We are here to take care of them. Hearing the conversation between the 3 of us, Aunt Wang finally realized that I was actually still a student. She looked up in surprise, wanting to say something, but eventually kept her mouth shut. After all, this was someone else's family business. Alright, I will think about it some more. Faced with the objections of both Tang Yusin and her mother, I did not insist either. This kind of thing could not be easily resolved. In just a few words to convince them. 20 minutes later, the car arrived at the maternal and child health hospital. After parking the car, I got out first and took the strollers out of the trunk. Then everyone placed the 3 babies into them respectively. Soon, everyone arrived at the hospital's front desk. Hello, we are here to process birth certificates, I said with a smile. The hospital staff, seeing that our whole family looked so good-looking, could not help but stare a few more times. They probably even thought we were some celebrities from the entertainment industry. Okay, Please may I ask if you brought your ID cards? I nodded, took out my own and Tang Yusin's ID cards, and handed them to the hospital staff. After checking them and confirming our identities. Wow, your babies are so cute. Seeing the 3 babies in the strollers, the front desk nurse felt her heart melting. Are these triplets? I remember 2 months ago, our hospital had a set of triplets born. It was right here in our hospital, and it even caused quite a stir. You would not happen to be that couple, would you? Faced with the nurse's inquiry, Tang Yusin smiled wryly and nodded. The nurse's words reminded Tang Yusin of the difficult days when she gave birth alone in the hospital. Sensing the change in Tang Yusin's mood, I leaned over and reached out to hold her shoulders. After confirming the babies' identities, the front desk nurse immediately returned to her post and began operating the computer to process the official birth certificates for the babies. By the way, what are their names? The eldest is named Xiao Xinghe. Tang Yusin and I exchanged a glance and said slowly. The front desk nurse looked curious. Does that have some special meaning? These 3 names were taken from a 7-character quatrain by the late Yuan dynasty poet Tang Qi. Drunk, I know not the sky is in the water. A boat filled with clear dreams presses upon the river of stars. Xinghe. These were the names Tang Yusin and I had jointly discussed and chosen at home beforehand. After hearing this, the front desk nurse could not help but give a thumbs up and praised. I did not expect Mom and Dad to be such cultured people. She had processed birth certificates for many newborns here and had seen all kinds of names. Someone surnamed Wu named their child Wu Sui does not matter. Someone surnamed Zhou named their child Zhou Mo Yu Kuai happy weekend. There was an even more bizarre own, someone surnamed Du, who named their child DeLacy Durex. As the stamp was pressed down, the 3 babies' birth certificates were finally completed. Congratulations to the host for completing a life achievement. Processing birth certificates and registering names for the babies. Received critical hit reward, 1% shares in JP Morgan Chase. Valued at $6.3 billion. The relevant equity certificates have been placed in the vehicle's storage compartment. Seeing this reward, I was stunned for a moment at first. Then I became somewhat incredulous. 1% shares in JP Morgan Chase. You must know that JP Morgan Chase is one of the most influential financial conglomerates in the United States. On second, I was still thinking about how to support my family. And the next second you hit me with such a massive gift package. Are the rewards for completing life achievements this astonishing? If I get the babies registered on the household register, send them to school, and raise them into adults, system, would not you just give me global industries? Xiaofei, what is wrong? Seeing me standing there in a daze, Tang Yusin could not help but ask. And nothing, I said with a smile. Then I took the 3 birth certificates from the nurse's hand and led everyone back to the car. The car quickly left the hospital, driving in the direction of Jinyu Huafu. On the way, I glanced at the glove compartment on the passenger side. I had the equity certificates in hand, but dividends had not been distributed yet. I still did not have much cash on hand. Unless I sold this 1% stake, then I would immediately achieve financial freedom and live the life of a wealthy person. But I am no fool. These are shares in JP Morgan Chase. With my identity as a Chinese citizen, the difficulty of acquiring a 1% stake in a tapas financial conglomerate can be well imagined. What is more, JP Morgan Chase has infiltrated almost every industry globally. As long as it is an industry you can see, you can basically find their shadow in it. In other words, by owning 1% of JP Morgan Chase's shares, it was equivalent to indirectly holding a controlling interest in many global industries. These 3 little ones are truly my lucky stars. After lunch, I plan to take Tang Yusin shopping, so she could experience the joy of being rich. Yusin, let us take the babies for a stroll at the mall. To the mall, Tang Yusin was a little surprised. What are we going to do there? I leaned in and reached out to wrap my arm around Tang Yusin's waist. What else? Look at you, you always wear these same few clothes. And you barely have any cosmetics. Later at the mall, I will buy you some everyday items. Hearing this, Tang Yusin looked a bit shy. She fidgeted unnaturally. You do not have to spend so much money. Let go of me first. My mom and Aunt Wang are still here. Aunt Wang, who was clearing the dishes in the dining room, acted as if she had not seen anything. And Tang's mother sat on the sofa, pretending to watch TV intently. Do not worry about wasting money. Your husband still has enough money to buy clothes. My wife is so beautiful and has such a great figure. Would not it be a pity if you did not dress up nicely? Tang's mother, sitting nearby, chimed in upon hearing this. Yusin, it is rare for Xiaofei to be so thoughtful. Just go out and stroll around with him. Aunt Wang and I will look after the children. However, Xiaofei, do not spend too much money either. In the future, raising the children, there will be plenty of places where you will need to spend money. Okay, Auntie, I nodded in agreement, but we can also take the babies out for a stroll. They are over 2 months old now. Getting more exposure to the outside world is also good for their growth. Auntie, why do not you come out with us too? I won't go. Tang's mother shook her head and said, she definitely did not want to go out and be a third wheel. Hearing her mother say this, Tang Yusin could not say anything more, so the two of us took the babies, drove out of the residential complex, and arrived at the largest shopping mall in the Magic City. Along the way, our handsome guy and beautiful girl duo quickly became the center of attention. Passers-by could not help but turn their heads to look. Tang Yusin was already breathtakingly beautiful to begin with, coupled with her stunning figure. Even without any makeup, it was hard to conceal her astonishing charm. As for me, that went without saying. After taking the marrow cleansing pill, I could basically be described as a walking magnet. Whether old or young, as long as they were women, they could not help but steal glances at me. Those who did not know better might have thought I was some male celebrity, facing everyone's passionate gazes. I was already used to it. I led Tang Yusin into a Chanel boutique. As soon as we entered, a beautiful saleswoman came up to greet us. Good afternoon, esteemed guests. Wow, these 3 babies are so cute. Are they triplets? Tang Yusin smiled and nodded. Seeing the babies in the strollers, the beautiful saleswoman's heart instantly melted from the cuteness. Looking up and seeing my handsome face, a flash of amazement crossed her eyes. With such a handsome husband and 3 adorable babies, this young lady here, how much good karma did she accumulate in her past life? Help her pick out a few suitable outfits, I said to the saleswoman. Right away, sir. Hearing this, the smile on the saleswoman's face became even more pronounced. Tang Yusin was still a bit hesitant. She knew Chanel was a luxury brand. Buying just a few pieces of clothing would easily cost tens of thousands. Xiaofei had just bought an apartment. How could he still have so much money? However, I waved my hand, signaling her not to mind. Seeing this, Tang Yusin had no choice but to bite the bullet and start picking out clothes with the saleswoman. While they were picking, I found a place to sit down and looked after the 3 babies. The babies lay in their strollers, their little eyes rolling around, looking everywhere. They did not cry or fuss, exceptionally well behaved. At this time, passing customers saw the scene and could not help but lean in. Are these triplets? So adorable. All 3 of them are so chubby and pink. It makes me want to have a second child. As a few elegant ladies said this, they immediately glanced at their husbands. Those men shrank their necks. Tonight, another tough battle was inevitable. Not long after, Tang Yusin finished changing. She returned to me, looking a bit shy. Hubby, does it look good? I looked up, and my eyes instantly lit up. At this moment, Tang Yusin, having changed out of her usual plain clothes, was wearing a new outfit that accentuated her exquisite curves to the fullest. I could not help but swallow my saliva and praised generously, it looks great. My wife is always so charming, no matter what she wears. Saying this, I stood up, walked up to Tang Yusin, and gently stroked her cheek with my hand. Tang Yusin's face instantly turned bright red. Being too shy, Tang Yusin could not even organize her words properly. I smiled and pulled my hand back. Then I said to the saleswoman nearby, I will take this outfit. Please pick out a few more for my wife. Right away, sir. Miss, your husband is truly so good to you. Receiving the saleswoman's praise, Tang Yusin felt a bit dizzy and was dragged off to try on clothes again. Just like that, under the saleswoman's recommendations, in less than half an hour, Tang Yusin had tried on over a dozen outfits. Without exception, as long as it was clothes worn by Tang Yusin, I would directly say, this own is nice, wrap it up. Go pick some more, keep going. Other customers in the store watched in sheer dumbfoundment. You have to realize, this is a Chanel boutique. A single piece of clothing costs at least several thousand, if not tens of thousands. How come when you buy it, it looks like you are buying vegetables at a market? Is not this too extravagant? By the end of the fitting sessions, the beautiful saleswoman's legs were a bit numb. When she carried various clothes, shoes, and bags of all sizes to the checkout counter, I directly took out my bank card and handed it over. Swipe the card. Also, for these things, can you send someone to deliver them to my home? The beautiful saleswoman smiled and nodded. No problem, sir. Let alone delivering these things to his home. Even if she had to pack herself up and deliver herself there, that would be no problem either, as long as she could close this deal today. Just the commission alone would earn her tens of thousands. Sir, your total today is 238,000 yuan. We will round it down and charge you 230,000. Hearing this number, Tang Yusin found it hard to believe. She was just about to reach out to stop it, but in the next second, the cash register spat out a white receipt, showing the payment was successful. I did not even look at it, and directly stuffed the bank card and receipt into my pocket. Then I took Tang Yusin and left the Chanel boutique. After leaving the boutique, Tang Yusin suddenly spoke up. Hubby, how do you still have so much money? She remembered that I told her before that after buying the apartment, I did not have much money left. I wrapped my arm around her waist, leaned into her ear, and whispered, when I said I did not have much money left, that was compared to the 20 million deposit. But taking out a few 100,000 to buy clothes for you is still no problem. Oh, Tang Yusin nodded. Then she said with some worry, Hubby, you are so outstanding. I suddenly feel like I am a bit unworthy of you. After I bought the apartment, Tang Yusin had started to feel this way. Her husband had to make money and also take care of the babies. It was truly too hard on him. Who says you are unworthy? I put on a stern face and flicked Tang Yusin's forehead. I teased, you are so beautiful. Of course you are worthy. We are a perfect match. If you do not believe me, you can ask the babies. Hearing my words, the 3 babies were very cooperative, babbling ya in agreement, seeing the 3 babies, and me singing the same tune. Tang Yusin could not hold it in anymore and burst out laughing. Her smile completely mesmerized me. My gaze traveled down Tang Yusin's charming face. Hubby, what are you doing? We are still outside. Tang Yusin playfully patted me. Wifey, do not get the wrong idea. The corners of my mouth curled up in a smile as I said, I was just thinking, if you still need some jewelry, let us go, we will continue our shopping spree. Before Tang Yusin could react, I pulled her along and walked into a jewelry store. Half an hour later, carrying bags big and small, I walked out of the major stores. This time, I spent nearly 500,000, giving Tang Yusin a complete makeover from head to toe. Various jewelry, cosmetics, bags. As long as you could think of it, I bought it all. While Tang Yusin was trying on jewelry, I also secretly sneaked over to a nearby counter and bought a proposal ring. Of course, I could not let Tang Yusin know about this. When Tang Yusin and I came out of the mall, it was already evening. Wifey, let us just eat out tonight. Check the time. It was already too late to go back and cook. Tang Yusin looked at me with a puzzled face. Yeah, come to think of it, we have not even had a date outside yet. Hearing my words, Tang Yusin chuckled again. Then she pointed at the 3 babies in the strollers and said, who goes on a date bringing babies along? Are not we? Looking at my face leaning closer, Tang Yusin's heart started fluttering wildly again. Faced with my gentle offensive, Tang Yusin felt like she was about to fall completely. Hubby, what do you want to eat? She shook her head, trying to clear her mind, and asked me. It is up to you. Today is my treat, my lady. I said softly. Tang Yusin thought for a moment, then blinked her eyes playfully. How about we go eat Japanese food? I nodded and smiled. I remember there is a particularly famous Japanese restaurant in the Magic City. I think it is called Karaoke Cuisine. Let us go eat there. Karaoke Cuisine was the most expensive Japanese restaurant in the Magic City, known as the pinnacle of kaiseki cuisine. The average cost per person was as high as 3,000 yuan. Having lived in the Magic City for so long, Tang Yusin had naturally heard of this restaurant. She had always wanted to try it out, but unfortunately, she was tight on money. Plus she had 3 babies to raise, so she never had the chance to go. Now hearing me bring it up, she immediately became interested. Immediately, I drove Tang Yusin and the 3 babies towards the location of Karaoke Cuisine. 10 minutes later, I drove my wife and kids to the entrance of the restaurant. As soon as we entered, 2 waiters came up to greet us. They bowed to us and said, "Welcome. Are you 2 dining with us?" I nodded. I have already booked a table online in advance. Alright, sir, please follow me. The waiter smiled brightly and made a welcoming gesture towards me. Then, taking small, quick steps, he led Tang Yusin and me into a tatami-style private room. I brought Tang Yusin to sit down. The 3 babies were placed on the tatami mat, letting them move around freely. Right at this moment, outside the room, a beautiful young girl suddenly walked by holding a selfie stick. Good evening, viewers. Today, I have come to Karaoke Cuisine, ready to take everyone on a tasting tour. The beautiful girl spoke to the camera, while looking around. Looking at her, she was probably a restaurant review streamer. Right then, her gaze fell upon the 3 babies in the tatami room. Seeing these 3 little angels, the beautiful girl could not help but exclaim, "Wow, what adorable babies." seeing someone praising her children. Tang Yusin was in a great mood. Originally, she had planned to close the sliding door, so that passersby would not disturb the babies. But looking at the beautiful girl with the selfie stick in front of her, the babies seemed very curious, blinking their eyes constantly. So she gave up the idea of closing the door. "Thank you, you are very cute too," Tang Yusin politely replied to the beautiful girl. Hearing the praise, the beautiful girl seemed a bit embarrassed. After all, this woman in front of her, after my careful styling, exuded an aura from head to toe, like an unattainable, noble flower. "Miss, you are so beautiful," the beautiful girl said subconsciously. Then she looked at me across the table, and her eyes turned into heart shapes. "This handsome guy here. Are you a celebrity?" I looked up and said to the beautiful girl. In the next second, my incredibly handsome face appeared on the livestream. Instantly, the netizens in the entire livestream chat exploded. "Holy crap, who is this? He is way too handsome. He is even more handsome than Daniel Wu himself. Such a handsome guy. I wonder if he has a girlfriend. I really want to have his babies." Seeing this scene, the beautiful girl hurriedly moved her phone away. "No longer filming my family. I am so sorry, I accidentally filmed you guys just now. I am really sorry." Seeing the guilty look on the beautiful girl's face, Tang Yusin waved her hand and said, "It is fine. You did not do it on purpose." "Thank you, miss." The beautiful girl nodded gratefully, then took her phone and left. This little interlude did not disturb Tang Yusin and me. Soon, the Japanese food we ordered was served. After taking a few bites, Tang Yusin suddenly frowned. "What is wrong? Is it not good?" I looked at Tang Yusin with a puzzled face. Tang Yusin shook her head. "It is okay. But after eating the food you cook, eating these things just feels a bit too ordinary. Feel like I can make it for you at home." They ate major domestic cuisines, as well as various foreign delicacies, including Japanese, French, and Vietnamese food. I can make them all. Tang Yusin looked at me in disbelief. Her eyes were filled with little stars of adoration. At this time, the system's voice chimed in. "Congratulations to the host for taking the babies out for a big meal for the first time. Reward, mastery in traditional Chinese folk music." That night, after returning home, the clothes we bought at the mall today had already been delivered. I accompanied Tang Yusin back to her bedroom, watching her take the clothes we bought today and neatly arrange them piece by piece into the wardrobe. After organizing the clothes, Tang Yusin turned around. "Hubby, thank you." She looked at me charmingly, her eyes filled with love. Seeing this, I naturally would not miss such a good opportunity. I stepped forward, wrapped my arms around Tang Yusin's waist, and leaned down to kiss her red lips. Tang Yusin was somewhat overwhelmed. She felt as if her body had been struck by electricity, tingling and going completely soft. Just when she felt like she was about to fall completely, I finally let her go. Looking at Tang Yusin in front of me, her pretty face flushed red from my kisses, I said, "Wifey, starting tomorrow, you won't have to go to work without makeup anymore." Thank you, hubby." Tang Yusin's face was flushed pink right now, looking just like a tender little wife. Just now, I left the babies in the care of Tang's mother and Aunt Wang, and drove Tang Yusin to school for a meeting. I was in the school parking lot, waiting for Tang Yusin's meeting to end. Having nothing to do, I took out my phone and started playing Genshin Impact. Not long after I started playing, someone knocked on the car window. I looked up and saw that it was actually Wu Zitao and Lu Chao. I smiled and said, "Why is it you two guys? Do not even mention it." Lu Chao curled his lips. "That guy Zhang Bo got together with a junior girl the last 2 days. We originally agreed to go to the internet cafe to game together today. But now who knows where he is off having fun with that junior. Oh, Bo Z got a girlfriend. That is a good thing. I did not expect that just a few days after I moved out, Zhang Bo would find a girlfriend. Let us find some time for us all to get together, and also see what his girlfriend looks like. Speaking of which, Brother Xiao, are you in a relationship too?" Wu Zitao asked gossipily. "You moved out just to live with your girlfriend, right?" I nodded. "You could say that." I did not hide it. "All right then, another day our dorm will have a dinner party. Bring your girlfriend along, and we will all get together." "Oh right, which department is your girlfriend in?" Hearing this question, I froze for a moment. I thought about it and said, "I guess you could say she is also in our finance department." "What do you mean guess? Could it be she is also a freshman junior?" Lu Chao and Wu Zitao listened with confused faces. However, they did not care too much about it. Anyway, they would get to see my girlfriend when the time came. "Brother Xiao, you parking the car here? Are you waiting for your girlfriend?" Wu Zitao and Lu Chao immediately gave a wicked smile. Having been roommates for 3 years, of course I knew what they were grinning about. It seemed that if they did not see what my girlfriend looked like with their own eyes today, they would not leave. Meanwhile, in the school conference room, that is all for today's meeting. Meeting adjourned. With the principal's order, the teachers present began packing up the things on their desks. Jiang Yu, sitting next to Tang Yusin, nudged her with her elbow. Miss Tang, why are you dressed so beautifully today? Looking at Tang Yusin beside her, Jiang Yu's face was full of envy, because she was simply too beautiful. Usually, even without makeup, Tang Yusin already outshone everyone else. Today, not only did she put on light makeup, but she also changed into beautiful clothes. No, I am just about the same as usual. Hearing this, a sly smile appeared on Jiang Yu's face. She pointed to the necklace around Tang Yusin's neck, and the pendants on her ears. This is definitely not the same. Did your husband give you these? Seeing that she was seen through, Tang Yusin had no choice but to nod. A beautiful blush appeared on her face. Your husband treats you so well. These must not have been cheap, right? They look like high-end goods. I am so incredibly jealous. Tang Yusin smiled and did not reply. Alright, I'm going to head back first. She packed her things, stood up directly, and prepared to leave the conference room. Hey Miss Tang, wait. It is a rare day off today. Let us have dinner together tonight. Jiang Yu grabbed Tang Yusin's hand, and several female teachers around them nodded in agreement. But Tang Yusin shook her head. He is waiting for me in the parking lot right now. She could not let her husband wait in vain for so long. At the thought of me, the corners of Tang Yusin's mouth subconsciously curled up, revealing a happy smile. It made Jiang Yu feel a bit sour watching her, smiling so sweetly. You must be wanting to go back early to find your husband, right? Yeah, Tang Yusin said frankly. Teacher Yuan Tong, sitting across from Jiang Yu, chimed in. Miss Tang, you are showing off your affection a bit too blatantly. Even I, a married woman, can barely stand it. What are you making those single teachers do? Exactly, to me, a single dog. This dealt a critical hit of 100 million points. I want compensation. Jiang Yu pretended to look half dead, backing up teacher Yuan. Alright, how do you want me to compensate you? Tang Yusin asked with a grin. Hearing this, Jiang Yu revealed a wicked smile and said, I want to go to your house to freeload a meal. Your husband's cooking is simply amazing. Just let me freeload a bit. Hearing this, Tang Yusin instantly froze. Go to her house to freeload a meal. Would not that expose everything? Jiang Yu, like herself, only taught college freshmen. She probably did not know Xiao Fei. She should not be able to discover anything, right? Yuan Shan, who was also very good friends with Tang Yusin, also became interested. Watching Tang Yusin eat lunch in the office these past 2 days had already made her mouth water. Yeah, Miss Tang, just let us go to your house and freeload a meal. Oh no, if she remembered correctly, Yuan Shan taught juniors, and she happened to be Xiao Fei's teacher. It was highly likely she would recognize Xiao Fei. Tang Yusin panicked internally, but on the surface she still pretended to be calm. Today might not be a good day. My husband. Before Tang Yusin could finish speaking, her phone suddenly rang. Taking it out and looking, she found it was a call from me. Left with no choice, Tang Yusin had to step out of the office to answer the call. I saw it was about time. Have you guys finished the meeting yet? It is over. We are just about to leave. Alright then, I will wait for you in the parking lot. Also, there is one more thing. My 2 roommates are here too. Although Tang Yusin had said before that even if their relationship was discovered, it did not matter. But at the crucial moment, Tang Yusin became worried again. If you still do not want to expose it, I can tell them to leave first. Hearing me say this, Tang Yusin took a deep breath, seemingly having made up her mind. No need, hubby. I will be right over. Putting down the phone, Tang Yusin turned back and waved to Jiang Yu and Yuan Shan. Alright, let us go. But let me say this first. Cooking is very hard work for my husband. You guys better restrain yourselves a bit. TSK, have not even started eating yet. And she is already starting to feel sorry for her husband. Jiang Yu could not help but make a snarky comment, then smiled, stepped forward, and left the conference room with Tang Yusin. On the way to the parking lot, Tang Yusin prayed silently in her heart. She hoped her husband would not be scared. Just as I hung up the phone, Wu Zitao and Lu Chao could not help but roll their eyes at me. Wow, Brother Xiao, what was that about? If you do not want to expose it, I can tell them to leave first. You are the type to forget your brothers once you have a woman, are not you? What nonsense are you talking about? Sitting in the car, I shrugged helplessly. I said that because her identity is a bit special. Never mind. You guys will know what is going on when you see her later, but I am warning you guys in advance. You are not allowed to go around blabbing about this. Otherwise, do not blame me for disregarding our brotherhood. Blabbing about what? Lu Chao and Wu Zitao were a bit confused. Soon, not far away, 3 women with graceful figures walked towards us. The sharp-eyed Wu Zitao recognized Tang Yusin at once. Oh my god, look, is not that goddess Tang? At the entrance of the parking lot, Tang Yusin and Jiang Yu were walking arm in arm, with Yuan Shan following behind them. The 3 of them walked towards my direction together. Miss Tang is dressed so beautifully today, as expected of my goddess. Wu Zitao looked like he was about to drool. Right at this moment, the trio of Tang Yusin got closer and closer to where I was parked. Wu Zitao and Lu Chao began to get a little nervous. Tang Yusin was simply too beautiful today. After dressing up a bit, Tang Yusin looked exceptionally sexy and charming. Miss Tang, Miss Yuan. When Tang Yusin walked up to them, Wu Zitao immediately greeted them. So, students. Although she did not know Wu Zitao and Lu Chao, Tang Yusin still greeted the 2 of them politely. She figured these 2 must be the roommates I mentioned. Then everyone saw Tang Yusin wave to me inside the car and say sweetly, "Hubby, I am here." Seeing this scene, everyone collectively went numb. What exactly is going on? Seeing Tang Yusin call me hubby, Wu Zitao and Lu Chao's brains instantly crashed. Could it be that the girlfriend Brother Xiao talked about is Miss Tang? At this time, I stepped out of the car. I looked at Jiang Yu and Yuan Shan beside Tang Yusin and greeted them politely. "Hello, Miss Jiang, Miss Yuan." Jiang Yu obviously did not know me and just greeted me back with a silly smile. But Yuan Shan, on the side, narrowed her eyes. She had quite an impression of me. After all, I was so handsome, even though there were hundreds of people attending the public lecture together. As a woman, memories of handsome guys tended to be more profound. However, now that I had taken the marrow cleansing pill, my overall appearance had reached a whole new level. She was a bit uncertain if the male student in front of her was the same student from her memory. "Are you also a student in the finance department? Have not I taught you before?" Miss Yuan's previous public lecture on situation and policy. "I owe much to your teaching." I admitted it very openly. My words were like a bolt of lightning from a clear blue sky, striking hard onto everyone's heads. "He is your husband." At this time, Jiang Yu also seemed to realize something was wrong. She turned her head and asked Tang Yusin. Tang Yusin nodded. Then she walked up to me, took my arm and slowly said, "Let me introduce you. This is my husband, and also the father of my children, Xiao Fei." "The father of your children? Miss Tang, you already have children." Jiang Yu looked at Tang Yusin in disbelief and asked. She never expected that Tang Yusin, whose figure was better than hers, and who, upon entering the school, was revered as a goddess teacher by all the teachers and students, actually already had babies. "Anicham, let us get in the car." "Hubby, Miss Jiang and Miss Yuan said they want to go to our house to freeload a meal." "Sure, they are welcome," I smiled and nodded. "Everyone, please get in the car first." Hearing this, Wu Zitao and Lu Chao on the side also hurriedly said, "Brother Xiao, we want to go too." I gave them a look of disdain and warned, "You can go. But when we get to my house, no smoking is allowed, understand?" All right, anything for the kids," the 2 said with cheeky smiles. Then they opened the car doors and took the initiative to sit in the back row. Fortunately, this SUV of mine was a 7-seater. Seating 6 people was absolutely no problem. However, seeing the 3 safety seats placed in the car, Jiang Yu could not sit still. She asked curiously, "Miss Tang, you have 3 children?" "Yeah, they are triplets. They are all very cute. When you see them later, you will definitely be captivated by them." Hearing that they were actually triplets, Lu Chao and Wu Zitao looked at me as if they were looking at an immortal. Not only did I take down the goddess teacher, but I also made her give birth to 3 babies in one go. "Brother Xiao, when did you and Miss Tang meet? How come we did not know anything about it?" I was driving and said without turning my head. "A year ago, when I went back to my hometown to attend a friend's birthday party, I met Yusin." Everyone then assumed they met through a friend's introduction. After some conversation, the surprise on everyone's faces also faded considerably. After all, everyone was an adult. Things like this were often heard of in school anyway. Plus, Tang Yusin was less than 5 years older than me. Even getting married and having kids was not anything strange. Soon, the car drove into Jinyu Huafu. "Wow, Miss Tang, you guys actually live in this residential complex," Jiang Yu said with a face full of surprise. "The housing prices here must not be cheap, right?" "Yeah, it is quite expensive." Tang Yusin nodded and explained. "This apartment was bought by Xiao Fei. I did not know beforehand. If I had known, I definitely would not have let him buy it. The mortgage pressure must be huge, right? How much do you have to pay back every month?" Yuan Shan was more concerned about this issue. Tang Yusin smiled and said, "There is no mortgage." Xiao Fei bought it in full, there is no mortgage. That tone was like saying cabbage was 1 yuan per jean. Everyone instantly opened their mouths wide, gasping for air. No way, brother Xiao, you are this filthy rich. Wu Zitao and Lu Chao could not help but exclaim. Not long ago he just bought a Land Rover Defender, and now he bought an apartment in the Magic City. And it is a Riverview apartment too. Writing web novels makes that much freaking money. If I had known this earlier, why would I even go to college? After parking the car, I led a large group of people back home in a mighty procession. As soon as we entered the door, we heard the second baby crying. I quickly changed my shoes and walked toward the living room. At this moment, Tang's mother was holding the second baby, coaxing her. "Auntie, let me do it." I walked over and took the second baby. Then I reached out and gently tapped the second baby's nose. The second baby, who had been crying her eyes out like pear blossoms bathed in rain, immediately stopped crying upon seeing her daddy appear. Her little hands tightly grasped my clothes. She looked at me pitifully, seeming to complain about why daddy only came back now. There, second baby, do not cry, daddy's back. I comforted the second baby while saying softly, "Auntie, what is wrong with the second baby? Why is she crying so hard?" Tang's mother waved her hand, saying helplessly, "I do not know either. After you left, she would not drink her formula or go to sleep, but as soon as you came back, she stopped crying. It looks like she must have missed her daddy." I looked down at the second baby, who had instantly fallen asleep in my arms. I secretly made a decision in my heart. After a while, when Tang's mother went back, I absolutely must ask for leave and stay home full-time to take care of the babies. At this time, seeing a whole group of people, Tang's mother asked in surprise, "Who are these people?" Something unexpected happened. The teachers and roommates were all talking about coming to my house to freeload a meal. My mother-in-law looked at the teachers and roommates walking through the door, her face full of confusion. "Who are these people?" Tang Yusin casually introduced them. "Mom, these two are my colleagues, Jiang Yu and Yuan Shan. The other two are Xiao Fei's college roommates." "Hello, Auntie, my name is Wu Zitao." Before Tang Yusin could say more, the two roommates very sensibly started introducing themselves. However, at this moment, the few of them were clearly shocked by this luxury apartment of mine. "How big is this apartment?" Looking at the massive living room in front of her, Jiang Yu could not help but ask. Tang Yusin smiled and said, "About 280 square meters, nearly 300 square meters." That tone was like saying she bought a vase at a street stall. "How much did this cost?" Yuan Shan asked with a face full of surprise after hearing this. A residential complex like Jinyu Huafu, located by the Huangpu River, where every inch of land is worth its weight in gold, has incredibly expensive prices. Moreover, from the balcony of this apartment, you could directly see the entire Huangpu River, overlooking the most bustling night view of the entire Magic City. It belonged to the king of buildings layout type in the complex. No matter what, it must have cost tens of millions, right? Just on the way here, Tang Yusin even said that Xiao Fei bought this in full. Is not this way too filthy rich? You guys chat, I will go cook first. Yusin, what do you want to eat tonight? Seeing them chatting lively, I very consciously prepared to go cook. Anything is fine, Tang Yusin said with a smile. Hey, brother Xiao, why did not you ask me? Seeing that I did not even bother to ask him a single question, Wu Zitao instantly became unhappy. You are lucky enough to be fed, stop your yapping. I gave him an annoyed glare and then walked into the kitchen. Not long after, from inside the kitchen, the clattering sounds of pots and pans rang out. Meanwhile, Tang Yusin took Jiang Yu and the other three to start a tour around the house. The more they looked, the more surprised the expressions on the four's faces became. Brother Zhao's house is really huge, Wu Zitao exclaimed, while looking around the apartment. His eyes were full of envy. Exactly, and the key is that the location is so good. I am so incredibly jealous, Yuan Shan said with some emotion. After touring the house, the four of them went to play with the three babies for a while. Seeing these three adorable little angels, Jiang Yu and Yuan Shan were instantly captivated by them. They wished they could grab a sack and take the three cute babies back with them. Even straight-laced guys like Wu Zitao and Lu Chao showed a loving, fatherly smile on their faces. These are Brother Zhao's kids. They are way too cute. Their looks are even better than Brother Zhao's. Yeah, look at the eldest here. When he grows up, won't he captivate thousands of girls? Sigh, after seeing Brother Zhao's cubs, I do not even dare to have kids anymore. I am afraid they will inherit my fate of being a supporting character as their old man. I quickly finished cooking dinner and carried the dishes out from the kitchen, looking at the table full of incredibly lavish dishes. Jiang Yu and the others' jaws almost dropped. Their stomachs also uncooperatively began to rumble. However, Tang's mother and the other two, who were already used to my cooking, appeared very calm. Because they had eaten it so much they were numb to how good it was. Even if they wanted to praise it, they could not find good adjectives anymore. Honestly, Miss Tang, I really envy you so much. Your husband being handsome is own thing, but his cooking is this good too. How am I supposed to live? Hearing others praise her husband, Tang Yusin's heart was filled with pride. Her little face was flushed pink, looking exceptionally beautiful. Do not just stand there in a daze, hurry up and sit down to eat. Tang Yusin greeted everyone to sit around the dining table. Just treat it like your own home. There is no need to be polite, everyone. Seeing Tang Yusin be the first to move her chopsticks, picking up a piece of sweet and sour pork ribs and putting it in my bowl. You have worked hard, hubby, you eat first. The four of them had long been unable to hold back their desire to feast. Everyone also began to dig in and taste the food, praising it endlessly while eating. At this moment, towards Tang Yusin showing off her affection, they were in a state of complete ignorance. It smells so good. This boiled fish is even better than Tyre's. It is absolutely divine. I have grown this big, and I have never eaten such delicious food before. I want another bowl. Let me eat until I burst tonight. Brother Xiao, it is truly a waste for you not to open a restaurant with these skills. If you opened a restaurant, I would definitely drag all my aunts and uncles over to support you. Such good cooking should be known to everyone. Facing everyone's praises, I smiled and shook my head, having been used to it long ago. Are you kidding? The meager profits from opening a restaurant. Maybe the past me would have thought it was a good choice. But now, I truly do not care for it. While everyone was gorging themselves, Tang Yusin's hands were not idle either, constantly putting food in my bowl. You worked hard cooking so many dishes, eat more, eat more. Looking at the food piled up like a small mountain in my bowl, I gave a helpless, wry smile. However, my wifey's heavy love, I naturally had to accept it all. So, I picked up my chopsticks and buried my head in eating. During this process, Tang Yusin acted as if she was afraid others would finish the food, and her husband would go hungry. She kept snatching food right from under other people's chopsticks, and putting it into my bowl. During the meal, she also poured me a large bowl of chicken soup. Seeing this scene, Jiang Yu could not help but roll her eyes. Miss Tang, do you have to do this? We are still eating here. Doing this, I am going to be full just from the dog food alone. Facing Jiang Yu's complaints, Tang Yusin smiled and said, that is perfect, then I can eat more. If you keep talking, the food will be gone. Do not blame me for not reminding you. Miss Tang, I did not expect you to be like this. Jiang Yu clutched her chest and started acting dramatically, putting on a very hurt expression. What is wrong with feeling sorry for my own husband? Tang Yusin said, her pretty face blushing slightly. This was her first time, in front of so many people, formally calling me hubby. Hearing this, my hand holding the chopsticks paused. A smile could not help but appear on my face. It seemed Yusin had accepted me from the bottom of her heart. Otherwise, she would not have called me hubby in front of so many people. Seeing the two of us sitting together, constantly showing off our affection, radiating the sour stench of love, Tang's mother's face was full of gratification. She also sighed with emotion that her daughter had found a good home. While the others were incredibly envious and jealous, they had no choice but to turn their grief and indignation into strength, desperately grabbing food and stuffing it into their mouths. They had to fill their stomachs before the dog food was thrown at them again. After dinner, Jiang Yu and the other three stayed in the living room and played with the three babies for a while, before finally preparing to leave. Before leaving, Jiang Yu gathered her courage and said to Tang Yusin, Miss Tang, in the future, could you ask your husband to make a bento for me too? I can pay for it. What do you think? Tang Yusin gave her a look. The bento made with love by her own husband, of course, could only be for herself. Tang Yusin absolutely did not want to share her husband's affection with anyone else. Alright then. But after eating the food your husband makes, I can't eat food made by anyone else anymore. If this keeps up, I'm going to go hungry. Jiang Yu pouted, looking incredibly wronged, wanting to win Tang Yusin's sympathy. That is perfect. Are not you always talking about wanting to lose weight? Maybe you will actually slim down by accident, and you can save a lot of money on food too. It is really killing two birds with one stone. Tang Yusin replied jokingly. Faced with Tang Yusin's teasing, Jiang Yu hurriedly waved her hands. Forget it, I just do not have this blessing. Miss Tang, oh, and Student Xiao, thank you for your hospitality today. We will be leaving now. Take care. After seeing everyone out, Tang Yusin closed the door, turned around, and hugged me, giving me a kiss directly. Hubby, making so many dishes today. Are you tired? Not tired, not tired at all. As long as my wifey likes it, I can cook for you every day. My wifey liking it is my greatest happiness. In the living room, seeing the two of us standing at the door being all lovey-dovey, Tang's mother's desire to return home grew even stronger. She felt like she was a massive third wheel right now, and a particularly bright one at that. That night, the family sat on the sofa, happily watching TV together. Tang's mother suddenly spoke up. Yusin, Xiaofei, seeing you two living so happily. I am relieved. Hearing this, Tang Yusin and I turned our heads, looking a bit puzzled. We did not know why Tang's mother suddenly wanted to say this. Tang's mother continued, originally, I was worried about Yusin, which is why I made a special trip here. But now, with you taking care of Yusin, I am very relieved. So, I am thinking of heading back first. After all, Yusin's dad is still at home alone. Hearing her mother say she wanted to go back. Although Tang Yusin felt a bit reluctant, she understood. After all, it was already good enough that her mother could stay here for a few days. Her father was still at home, and she would have to go back sooner or later. But in the next second, Tang's mother suddenly asked, Xiaofei Yusin, when do you guys plan to go home together for a visit? Under Tang Yusin's expectant gaze, I thought for a moment and then said, Aunt, the children are still young right now. Whether it is taking a plane or the high-speed train, neither is very suitable. So I plan to buy an RV in a while. And then I will take Yusin back together. At the end, I added another sentence. And then go back in grand style to formally propose marriage. Hearing these words, Tang Yusin covered her mouth, her face full of a deeply moved expression. Although she did not say much verbally, what girl does not want her marriage to have a sense of ceremony? Hearing me say this, the heavy stone in Tang's mother's heart was finally lifted. She nodded. Xiaofei, since you put it that way, then I am relieved. I will buy a plane ticket back tomorrow, and properly work on Yusin's dad's attitude. Do not worry, Auntie. Regarding Uncle, no matter how big an issue he has with me, when the time comes I will take it all. I won't hit back if he hits me, and I won't talk back if he scolds me. It won't be that serious. Tang's mother smiled so much her eyes almost crinkled shut. That old thing just has a sharp tongue but a soft heart. Actually, he forgave Yusin a long time ago. You would not know. This time when I came over he even secretly slipped me a bank card, and told me to give the money to Yusin. He even forbade me from telling Yusin that he gave the money. Hearing this, both Tang Yusin and I smiled helplessly, seeing that the situation with my father-in-law was not as severe as I had thought. I hoped their father-daughter relationship would clear up soon. Before going to sleep, I quietly slipped into Tang's mother's room, looking as if I was terrified of Tang Yusin finding out. Xiaofei, is there something you need? Seeing me come looking for her alone, Tang's mother asked in confusion. Annie, it is like this. I glanced outside the door and whispered, when is Yusin's birthday? Hearing this, Tang's mother immediately understood. If I remember correctly, in another 3 days. I believe it is Yusin's birthday. Finding out Tang Yusin's birthday, my heart rejoiced. That is perfect. I plan to propose to Yusin these next couple of days. Since her birthday is in 3 days, then I will propose to her on her birthday. Hearing that I was going to propose to her daughter, Tang's mother became even more satisfied. She really had not misjudged this son-in-law. His heart was full of her daughter. He had even thought of the proposal early on. Leaving Tang's mother's room, I returned to my own bedroom. I happened to see the 3 little darlings amusing themselves on the bed. Right at this moment, someone knocked on the door. I opened the door and found that it was actually Tang Yusin. At this moment, she was standing outside the door, looking at me with a blushing face. Hubby, are you tired today? I'm alright, what is wrong? I hugged Tang Yusin and gave her a kiss on the cheek. Wifey coming to look for me so late? Is something the matter? It is just... The cat in my room just did a backflip. Do you want to come and see? The more Tang Yusin spoke, the redder her face became. Her voice got softer and softer. Hearing this, a meaningful smile appeared on my face. But I still cooperatively put on a surprised expression. I have never seen a cat that can do a backflip. Saying this, I picked up Tang Yusin and went back to her room together. When the sky was just getting bright, the system's voice suddenly echoed in my ears. Congratulations to the host for completing the task of spending a week with the babies. Reward, Martial Arts Grandmaster. Just as the system finished speaking, the muscles on my body instantly tensed up. A powerful aura surged forth from me. I snapped my eyes open, bursting with 2 rays of sharp light. Like 2 sharp swords, I felt like right now, even if I ran into boxing champion Mike Tyson, or Wudong's Zhang Sanfeng, I could beat them to the ground. After all, besides martial arts grandmaster, I had also taken the marrow cleansing pill. In terms of physical fitness, probably no one on the entire blue planet could compare to me. Having this skill, if the babies and my wife encountered danger in the future, I now had the ability to protect them. Tang's mother, who woke up early, was muttering softly in the living room. I was half asleep last night. It felt like there was an earthquake. After we finished breakfast, I drove Tang Yusin and Tang's mother away from home. I first dropped Tang Yusin off at school, and then turned around to take Tang's mother to the Magic City airport. Arriving at the ticket gate, I looked at Tang's mother and smiled. "Auntie, be careful on your way. Remember to let us know you are safe when you land." Fei Xiaofei, hurry back now. I am going in to get my ticket checked. Take good care of Yusin for me. Please do not worry, Auntie. I promise to take perfect care of Yusin. Watching Tang's mother walk through the ticket gate, I finally turned and left the airport. I drove straight back to Jinyu Huafu. After parking the car, I was not in a hurry to go back up. Instead, I took out my phone and checked the stocks I held. Last week, the system rewarded me with 5 million, coupled with the money earned from trading stocks. I directly threw the entire principal of 10 million into the stock market. If nothing unexpected happened, in a few more days, this 10 million would appreciate to 18 million. A net profit of 8 million. Thinking of this, the corners of my mouth could not help but curl up. At this time, the system's voice chimed in. Congratulations to the host for becoming an investing whiz. Reward, an RV valued at 5 million. Hearing the system's voice, I froze for a moment. Asterisk system, you have been a bit active lately, have not you? Asterisk. Then, a smug smile appeared on my face. I was just thinking about whether I should go buy an RV, so I could easily take the babies to see my parents-in-law. And now the system directly rewarded me with own. This was truly offering fuel in snowy weather. Sure enough, in another parking space, I saw an RV the size of a shipping container. Taking out the keys, I walked straight inside. Seeing the interior decoration of the RV, I could not help but exclaim, "This is too luxurious." The spacious interior had no partitions in the middle. In the evening, I went to school on time to pick up Tang Yusin. On the way back, I said mysteriously, "Wifey, I will give you a surprise later." "What surprise?" Tang Yusin asked curiously. Originally, she was still thinking about how she could go home and see the babies soon. But hearing my words, her attention was immediately drawn away. "You will know in a bit." I kept her in suspense. "I believe you will definitely love it." Looking at Tang Yusin's expectant gaze, I grinned. After returning home, seeing the RV parked in our parking space, Tang Yusin was completely dumbfounded. She subconsciously covered her mouth and said, "Is this our RV? It is so big." Tang Yusin was so excited she almost screamed. She could not wait to run over, walked a circle around the entire RV, and then said, "Hubby, hurry up and open the door, let me go in and take a look." But just like taking a little kid, I led Tang Yusin into the vehicle and let her explore to her heart's content. Tang Yusin looked left and right, running into the bedroom one moment and slipping into the bathroom the next. She excitedly hugged my neck. "Hubby, when did you buy this? With this vehicle, I can drive it and take you to see my parents and your parents. And then we will go get our marriage certificate. In the future, our family can go out and travel and enjoy the scenery." The expectant expression on Tang Yusin's face grew more and more intense. She could not help but stand on her tiptoes and gently kissed me on the cheek. "Hubby, you are amazing. There are plenty more amazing things about me." Looking at this beautiful woman in front of me, I felt a stir of desire. I casually picked her up and slowly walked into the RV's bedroom. The day of Tang Yusin's birthday arrived. At home, I prepared a dinner that even a state banquet could not compare to. "Hubby, why did you make such a lavish meal today?" Tang Yusin had been busy with work these past few days, and had even forgotten her own birthday. "I made this specially for you. Today is a special day." "For me?" Tang Yusin pointed at herself, looking a bit confused. However, she still felt very moved in her heart. "Thank you, hubby," Tang Yusin said sweetly. After dinner, I took Tang Yusin's hand, led her to the living room, and had her sit down on the sofa. Then I brought out a camera I had specially bought, mounted it on a tripod, and pressed the record button. "Hubby, what are you doing?" Tang Yusin was a little bewildered. Why bring out a camera to record all of a sudden? What for? I gave a mysterious smile. "To give you a surprise, of course." "Another surprise?" Tang Yusin blinked. She looked at Aunt Wang not far away, and found that she looked equally clueless. "Wait here a moment." With that, I ran into the bedroom. When I came out, both Tang Yusin and Aunt Wang were stunned. I saw that I had changed into a white hanfu. I looked radiant and full of energy. exuding a captivating aura from head to toe. I was also holding a guqin in my arms. Looking at me in this attire, pink hearts kept popping out of Tang Yusin's eyes. Asterisk, my husband looks way too handsome in this outfit, does not he? Meanwhile, the three babies nearby, seeing their daddy's handsome appearance, also babbled Iya. Seeing this, I brought out the guqin, sat down in front of Tang Yusin, and began to play. Asterisk jing, jing, jing asterisk. The sound of the qin was melodious, lingering, and beautiful. Having mastery in traditional Chinese folk music, my playing level was already that of a professional grandmaster. Tang Yusin was captivated by this beautiful melody, staring at me intently without blinking. Even without understanding music theory, Tang Yusin could hear that the piece I was playing was filled with overflowing love. When the song ended, I gently pressed my hands on the strings. Then I stood up, walked over to Tang Yusin, and knelt on one knee before her. Wifey, happy birthday. Tang Yusin was so moved she choked up. With tears welling in her eyes, she could not help but hug me. Hubby, thank you. If it were not for you, I would have forgotten it was my birthday today. I gently patted Tang Yusin's back, and said softly, do not be in a hurry, I have another gift for you. After saying that, I pulled out a delicate little box from behind me. Looking at the box in front of her, Tang Yusin seemed to realize something. Her lips began to tremble. Asterisk, could hubby be? I gently opened the box, and a dazzling diamond ring appeared in front of Tang Yusin. I stood there, looking at her with deep affection. Yusin, will you marry me? My words made Tang Yusin's heart race. In the next second, without any hesitation, Tang Yusin said loudly, I will. At this moment, Tang Yusin's eyes were already red from crying out of being moved. Tears flowed uncontrollably. She nodded and said between sobs, hubby, I am so happy. Being able to marry you is the luckiest thing in my life. Aunt Wang, watching from the side, had a face full of a loving auntie-like smile. She could not help but wipe the corners of her eyes too. Initially, when Tang Yusin hired her to come to her home as a maternity matron, she was still living in a small apartment less than 30 square meters. Now, seeing that her hardships had finally yielded sweetness, and she had finally obtained the happiness she deserved, Aunt Wang felt very moved in her heart as well. She silently got up and left the room, leaving the space to the young couple. In the living room, Tang Yusin gradually stopped crying. She wiped the tears from her face, extended her left hand and said, hubby, can you put it on for me? Of course. I held Tang Yusin's small hand, took out the ring, and slowly slid it onto Tang Yusin's ring finger. Looking at this dazzling diamond ring, Tang Yusin could not help but cry again. Hubby, how did you know it was my birthday today? I wiped the tears from Tang Yusin's face, and said with a smile, I asked Aunt. No, I asked our mom. Hubby, I love you so much. By the way, hubby, what was the piece you just played? Facing this affectionate confession, I did not speak, just hugged Tang Yusin tightly, and whispered, Feng Qiu Huang, a phoenix seeks his mate. Feng Qiu Huang. Hearing these three words, Tang Yusin smiled foolishly. Who knows what she was thinking about? That night, right before going to sleep, I quickly edited the video, and then posted it on the account 3 Treasures at Home. I noticed that this girl Tang Yusin was actually holding her tablet, lying in bed, continuously replaying the video I had just posted. She even let out silly laughs from time to time. Wifey, let us ask for a leave of absence tomorrow. Ask for a leave for what? Tang Yusin asked without lifting her head, still looking at the video. Asterisk, is hubby planning to take me somewhere? Asterisk. Ask for a leave to go home. It is perfect, now that we have an RV. We can drive the babies back for a visit, meet both sets of parents, and then get our marriage certificate. Hearing this, Tang Yusin nodded sweetly. Since she had already accepted my proposal, meeting the parents should also be put on the agenda. Then we will go to the school tomorrow to ask for leave. The babies are also almost 3 months old. We need to hurry and register them on the household register, and get them vaccinated and all that. So the wedding might have to be postponed for a bit. But do not worry, I will definitely give you an unforgettable wedding. Hubby, thank you. Thank you for letting me no longer be alone. Thank you for giving me and the babies a warm home. Tang Yusin put down her phone and looked at me intently. I wrapped my arm around Tang Yusin's waist, and said with a smile, are not these all things I should be doing? Is there any need to say thank you? Tang Yusin burst out laughing with a pft. She snuggled into my arms, looked up at my face, her eyes gradually becoming misty. Hubby, you really are handsome. Not only handsome, but also so good at making money. You cook well and you can even play the qin. Hubby, you are so outstanding, I feel so much pressure. I held Tang Yusin's hand and said softly, wifey, then you should also work hard to become outstanding. Let us become better people together, so we can set a good example for the babies. Emichim, Tang Yusin nodded obediently. Then the two of us held each other tightly and kissed passionately. After being affectionate for quite a while, Tang Yusin could not handle it anymore. Lying in my arms, she fell into a deep sleep. The next day, Tang Yusin and I went to the school together to ask for a leave of absence. Right now, the only people in the entire school who knew about our relationship were Jiang Yu, Yuan Shan, and my 3 roommates. None of them were gossips, so they had not leaked the matter. However, Zhang Bo, who went out on a date with his girlfriend that day, learned that I actually had children with the goddess teacher, Tang Yusin, and called me that very night. On the phone, Zhang Bo was heartbroken, and at the same time expressed strong condemnation of my concealing behavior. After getting our leave approved, the two of us returned home. We temporarily bid farewell to Aunt Wang and told her to go back and rest for a few days. After all, we were taking the babies back to our hometown to meet our parents. It would not be appropriate for Aunt Wang to live here alone. Before leaving, Aunt Wang looked at the 3 babies reluctantly, the corners of her eyes a bit moist. Having spent so much time with the children, she had long considered the 3 babies as her own grandchildren. After Aunt Wang left, Tang Yusin and I packed our luggage and brought the 3 babies into the RV. Cheat Map is now navigating for you from Modu Jinyu Huafu to Chuanyu Yeyuan Residential Complex. Total trip, 2,186 kilometers. Estimated driving time, 20 hours and 38 minutes. For long-distance driving, please remember to rest and avoid fatigue driving. Hearing the navigation voice from the car system, Tang Yusin, who had just settled the 3 babies, walked over and asked with concern, hubby, driving for so long, won't you be tired? It is fine. I waved my hand and joked, my stamina, do not you know it well? I smiled, stepped on the gas pedal, and drove the RV out of the underground garage. Tang Yusin's pretty face instantly turned slightly red. Feeling a bit embarrassed, she walked to the back of the RV. Tang Yusin sat in the lounge area, looking after the 3 babies, muttering, babies, you have to grow up healthy and fast. That way, when we go back to our hometown in the future, Daddy won't have to drive. Driving for so long is very tiring for Daddy. The 3 babies stared with their big round eyes, looking at Tang Yusin curiously. Although they could not understand what she was saying, they were very happy and started waving their hands and feet. Seeing this, Tang Yusin suddenly thought of something. She took out her phone, opened the camera, and began recording. Hello everyone, I am the 3rd baby's mom. Today, my husband is driving to take me and the babies back to our hometown. Let me show everyone the 3 adorable babies. With that, Tang Yusin pointed the camera at the 3 cute babies. Ya ya woo woo. As if the babies knew a camera was filming them, they waved their little hands vigorously, muttering something. Who knows what they were saying? After filming the babies, Tang Yusin then pointed the camera at me, who was driving. Hubby, do not drive while fatigued. If you get tired from driving, just go to a service area to rest. Okay, wifey, finger heart for you. Seeing Tang Yusin recording a video, I also cooperated, making a finger heart toward the camera. After recording the video, Tang Yusin opened an editing app, made some minor edits on her phone, added subtitles, and then uploaded it to Bilibili. Accumulated over 2 days, the account 3 Treasures at Home did not have many followers, probably less than 2,000. Therefore, after the video was uploaded, the views were only slightly less than a few hundred. Tang Yusin did not mind and closed the app. At the same time, in a courtyard house in the capital, Yu Pei was in the courtyard, basking in the sun while scrolling through Bilibili. Suddenly, a video titled, Traveling 2,000 kilometers to take 3 babies back to our hometown, caught her attention. She clicked on the video and was instantly captivated. At the very beginning of the video, Tang Yusin's noble, cold, and pretty face appeared. Seeing Tang Yusin, Yu Pei's face was full of envy. Having given birth to 3 babies, how could her figure still be maintained so well? As for the RV, Yu Pei was not too surprised, because her family was also extremely wealthy. Just this courtyard house alone was worth several hundred million. So seeing this RV, she only felt a slight sense of amazement, nothing more. But when I appeared on screen, Yu Pei's eyes instantly widened. Wow, 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 what a handsome guy. That is right, Yu Pei was a sucker for good looks. As long as it was a handsome guy, she liked him. The video finished playing quickly. Out of curiosity about me, Yu Pei clicked on the homepage and found another video I had posted yesterday. She hurriedly clicked it and started watching. When she saw me in the video, wearing a long white robe, appearing before her like an immortal banished from heaven. Pink hearts started popping out of Yu Pei's eyes again. But when I, holding the long chain, began to play, Yu Pei froze. The more she watched, the more surprised the expression on her face became. After finishing the entire video, she acted as if she had gone crazy. She jumped off her chair and ran towards the main hall of the courtyard house. "Grandpa, come look at this." In the main hall, a thin-faced old man heard his granddaughter's voice and turned his head curiously. "Pei, why are you in such a frantic rush?" "Grandpa, look at this young man. His Feng Chiu Huang is amazing." Old Mr. Yu chuckled, shaking his head, and helplessly took the phone. This old man was a renowned traditional Chinese folk music performer in Yanxia, known as a national treasure level grandmaster. At the same time, he was also the president of the Yanxia Folk Music Art Association. Known as High Mountains and Flowing Water Seeking a Soulmate, old Mr. Yu Gaoshan. He had previously performed on gala shows for major satellite TV stations, and had even appeared on the CCTV Spring Festival Gala. He had millions of followers on Bilibili. Taking the phone from his granddaughter, Yu Gaoshan did not take her words seriously at first, thinking she just lacked experience and had not seen many grand performances. But when he saw me on the screen, Yu Gaoshan could not help but let out a gasp of amazement. What a handsome young man. Hearing Yu Gaoshan's praise, a white-haired old man sitting opposite him could not help but ask, "Old Yu, how handsome of a young man could make you exclaim like that?" "Old Zhang, see for yourself." Yu Gaoshan placed the phone between the two of them. Not long after, the me in the video began to play Feng Chiu Huang. As the prelude sounded, Yu Gaoshan and old Zhang, who were originally unbothered, instantly closed their eyes. At the same time, their withered hands started tapping lightly on the table. When the song ended, Yu Gaoshan opened his eyes with some reluctance. His originally somewhat cloudy eyes had now become clear and bright, as if filled with passion. He stood up abruptly, clapped his hands, and exclaimed, "Excellent, excellent, excellent. Truly a formidable youth." He suddenly shouted loudly, startling Yu Pei. "Grandpa, you scared me." From her grandfather's expression, Yu Pei could tell he really liked this young man. Yu Gaoshan let out a hearty laugh. "Grandpa is just too happy. I did not expect that in our Yanxia country there would be such a young man. It seems I have a worthy successor." Saying that, Yu Gaoshan picked up the phone again and finished watching the second half of the video. After watching the whole video, Yu Gaoshan sighed with emotion again, using Feng Chiu Huang to propose. "This young man is truly interesting. Such a young man. I definitely have to meet him." Yu Gaoshan put down the phone, stroked the beard on his chin, and then said, Pei, I remember I seem to have a Bilibili account too. Help me use that account to send a message to this young man, to say, well, Grandpa wants to meet him." "Okay, Grandpa." Yu Pei nodded, then she picked up the phone, logged into her grandfather's account, and with a flurry of typing, quickly drafted the message and sent it. After sending the private message, Yu Gaoshan still felt it was not enough. He shared the 3 treasures at home proposal video, and attached a sentence, "A formidable youth indeed. It seems this old you can slowly step back from the front lines." Meanwhile, I, who was driving, heard the system's voice chiming constantly. "Congratulations to the host for completing the task, baby's followers exceeding 5,000. Reward, Mastery in Go. Congratulations to the host for completing the task, baby's followers exceeding 10,000. Reward, Mastery in Painting. Congratulations to the host for completing the task, baby's followers exceeding 20,000. Reward, Mastery in Calligraphy." Hearing the system's voice continuously echoing in my mind, I was completely bewildered. I did not know what kind of fit the system was throwing to actually give me 3 rewards at once. Check the time. I had been driving for almost 5 hours. We were about to reach the next service area. I turned on my right turn signal and drove into the service area. "Hubby, are you tired? Lie down for a bit." Tang Yusin thought I was tired from driving. She patted the bed, gesturing to me, asking if I wanted to lie down and rest for a while. But I sat down next to Tang Yusin, wrapped my arm around her slim waist and asked, "Wifey, did you post a video earlier?" Tang Yusin nodded. "It seems quite a few people like watching it. Just now, it looks like we gained quite a few followers." "Hubby, Elder Yu even shared our video." "Hubby, there's a private message from Elder Yu in the inbox." Right at that moment, Tang Yusin opened her phone and saw that there was actually a message from Elder Yu in the account's inbox. I took the phone, clicked in to take a look, and found that it really was a private message sent by Yu Gaoshan himself. Little friend, your chin skills truly fill this old man with admiration. I wonder when you might be free to meet with this old man for a chat. Hubby, this elderly. It seems he wants to meet you. Tang Yusin looked at me with a face full of adoration. For such a big shot to not only take the initiative to share her husband's video, but also want to meet him, that is truly amazing. So, I took the phone and drafted a message. I thanked him for helping to share the video, but explained that I did not have time right now as I was heading back to my hometown. Once I had some free time, I would definitely contact him. Then I exited Billy. Hubby, are not you going to add his contact info? Hubby, you have been driving for so long. Do you want to rest for a bit? Nourish. I hugged Tang Yusin, leaned down, kissed her, and said, Wifey, let us take a rest now. I was driving the RV, taking my wife and children home to meet my parents. At this time, I casually gave my dad a call. Hello, you brat, what is up? Why are you calling me all of a sudden? My dad's deep voice came from the other end of the line. Nothing much. What are you doing, Dad? I just wanted to tell you that I should be arriving home around 6 p.m. tonight. Oh, I am at work. You are coming back. Hearing this, my dad was clearly a bit delighted, but soon he asked in confusion, Are not you in school? It is not even a holiday right now. What are you coming back for? I hesitated for a moment, then said, You will know when I get home later. I am bringing my wife and kids back too. Tell Mom to cook more food. You brat, messing with your old man again? Are not you? Obviously, my dad on the other end of the phone did not take this seriously. I did not mind. He would know once he saw the 3 babies later, after hanging up the phone. I wondered if this would be a surprise for my parents. Tang Yusin asked with some concern. Hubby, will your parents accept me having babies before even getting married? She did not know if Xiao Fei's parents would think she was a bad girl. Why would not they accept you? I smiled and comforted her. An excellent daughter-in-law like you. Who knows how many people would love to have you? Do not worry, my parents are very easy to get along with, especially my mom. Back when I just started college, she wanted me to bring a girlfriend back. Now I am not only bringing a wife, but also 3 babies. She will definitely be thrilled to death. After my comforting words, Tang Yusin's suspended heart finally settled down. She hoped it would truly be as I said. At 6 p.m. in the evening, just as the sun was about to set, I drove the RV off the highway. Not long after, I arrived at the gate of an ordinary residential complex in the old district. I rolled down the window and waved to the security guard uncle. Uncle Wang, could you please open the gate? Oh my, is not this Xiao Fei? Why are you back? And this car of yours is really huge. Seeing it was me, the security guard uncle immediately smiled and opened the gate for me. Thanks, uncle. I called out to the security guard uncle, and then drove to the parking spot downstairs from my home. When the car came to a steady stop, Tang Yusin, who had already mentally prepared herself, started getting nervous again. Chubby, I'm scared. Tang Yusin tightly grasped my arm, her voice trembling slightly. Do not be scared, I am here. My parents do not eat people. Do not worry, my Yusin is so beautiful, and so gentle and considerate. My parents will love you too much. Tang Yusin replied with a voice as soft as a mosquito. Her hand gripping mine tightly also loosened slightly. It seemed that having me by her side really made her feel more at ease. I opened the car door, took out the strollers, and placed the 3 babies inside. I pushed the strollers, and in no time arrived at my doorstep. Asterisk knock, 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 asterisk I knocked on the door. Coming, the door opened, and a kind, loving face, wearing a smile, appeared in our sight. Xiaofei, you're back. Halfway through her sentence, my mom, Wang Fong, froze. She widened her eyes, looking curiously at Tang Yusin, who was standing at the door pushing the strollers. At the same time, she looked down at the 3 babies in the strollers. This. She opened her mouth wide, too shocked to speak. I am back. I walked in and introduced her. This is Tang Yusin. These are the children Yusin and I had. Hello, Annie. I am Xiao Fei's girlfriend. Tang Yusin followed me in and greeted my mom. Seeing this scene, my mom covered her mouth, looking incredulous. After a long while, she finally ran towards the kitchen in her slippers. Old man, this is bad. Our son. What happened to our son? My dad, standing in the kitchen, looked completely bewildered. Our son brought a whole bunch of sons back. Hearing this, my dad, Xiao Jun, who was cooking in the kitchen, instantly froze. He hurriedly followed my mom out of the kitchen. At a glance, he saw Tang Yusin and me in the living room, taking the 3 children and placing them on the sofa own by own. This is. Seeing the 3 adorably dumbfounded babies, my dad's eyes almost popped out of his head. He violently slapped his forehead and demanded loudly, you brat. What exactly is going on here? Dad, Mom, I took Tang Yusin's hand, walked up to my parents, and introduced them. This is my girlfriend, and also my fiancé, Tang Yusin. And these are my children, who are also your grandchildren. My parents stood there frozen, staring blankly at the three babies. The expressions on their faces were incredibly complex. My dad suddenly grabbed me, pulled me aside, and asked in a low voice, "Son, are you taking the fall for someone else?" I chuckled. "Dad, what are you saying? They are my own flesh and blood. Do you think your son looks like the type to be a fall guy? So these three are all my precious grandchildren." His eyes lit up, staring intently at the three babies on the sofa. "When did you two get together?" "Ahem, well, I will explain this to you guys slowly." I brought my father back, and sat down with Tang Yusin opposite them. Here's what happened. Yusin and I met unexpectedly last year, and then we had the children. I kept this a secret from you guys the whole time, seeing that I did not tell my parents the entire truth. Tang Yusin knew I was protecting her. However, she still chose to step up. "Uncle Andy, actually it is like this. The situation between Xiao Fei and me." Tang Yusin recounted the story of how we met, explaining everything in detail. After listening, my parents were also filled with emotion. My mom, with red eyes, stood up, walked over to Tang Yusin, and pulled her into a tight hug. "You poor girl, it must have been so hard on you, carrying them for 10 months all by yourself, and having to take care of 3 babies. It truly makes my heart ache. You went out to work not long after giving birth. You did not even do a proper postpartum confinement. Did your body suffer any lasting damage?" Seeing my mom hugging her tightly, and constantly asking about her well-being with such warmth, Tang Yusin felt a profound warmth in her heart. Originally, she thought that telling the truth would incur the blame and scolding of Xiao Fei's parents. But now, not only did they not blame her, they were treating her so well. The pressure in Tang Yusin's heart vanished into thin air instantly. She hugged my mom tightly, and said somewhat choked up, "Xiao Fei treats me very well. If this brat dares to bully you, you just tell Mom. Mom promises to teach him a lesson for you." My mom said this while giving me a fierce glare. Then my mom shooed me away. She sat down next to Tang Yusin, took her hand, and started chatting with her. Before leaving, I even winked at Tang Yusin, as if saying, "I told you my mom is easy to get along with, right?" Tang Yusin returned a look, smiled and nodded. A sweet smile appeared on her face. The heavy stone in her heart had finally fallen. "My precious grandbabies, I am your grandma. Quick, call me grandma." In the living room, my mom looked at the 3 babies. While pinching the eldest baby's cheek, she touched the second baby's nose, and played with the youngest baby's ears. Her face was full of pure doting. Seeing my mom's childish actions, I could not help but complain. "Why do I feel like you are treating the babies like toys?" My mom froze for a moment, and then said seriously, "If having children is not for playing with, then what is the point of having them?" Hearing this fierce statement, Tang Yusin and I were instantly left speechless. My mom truly had a way with astonishing words. Usually, my mom was the one who cooked at home. But if there were important guests or if I came home for the holidays, my father, Xiao Jun, would take over the kitchen. From this, it was clear that my dad's culinary skills were higher than my mom's. I walked into the kitchen and smiled slightly when I saw my dad busy inside. "Dad, let me help you prep." "Alright then, chop those carrots." Seeing that I wanted to help, my dad did not refuse. However, when I picked up the kitchen knife and displayed my knife skills, my dad was visibly startled. "You brat, not bad, you secretly went and learned how to cook, huh?" I put on a smug face. "I did not, I am completely self-taught. Your son is very smart, you know. If you put it that way, you can handle this all by yourself then. Alright, I will leave this to you. I am going to go play with my grandchildren." After saying that, my dad did not give me any time to react at all, and slipped right out. Hearing this, I smiled helplessly. This old father of mine was in his 50s, yet he still acted like a child. When I finished cooking and brought the dishes to the table, calling everyone to eat, my parents finally, with great reluctance, put down the babies, and sat at the dining table to eat. My dad brought out some beer, grinned and said, "You brat, have a couple of drinks with me." I did not refuse either. It was rare for me to come home. Having a couple of drinks with my old man was absolutely no problem. After all, being away from home all year round, the number of times I came back was getting fewer and fewer. Father and son exchanged toasts there, while my mom kept putting food in Tang Yusin's bowl. "Yusin, do not hold back. Just treat this as your own home. Come on. Look how thin you have become." When we were almost done eating, I suddenly said, "Mom, Dad, the main reason we came back this time is that we want to take the household register to register our marriage. That is wonderful. Hearing this, my mom nodded repeatedly. But what about your in-laws? My mom looked at me. I do not know what your in-laws' attitude is right now. Is it convenient to meet up or something? Tang Yusin put down her chopsticks and chimed in. Xiao Fei and I plan to go back tomorrow, and then find my parents to have a good talk. Alright then. After you meet with your in-laws, our two families will find a time to go out and have a meal together. Stop talking about this, hurry up and eat. Just then my dad shamelessly said, this kid's cooking skills have improved a lot. The food is simply too delicious. If he keeps this up, he is soon going to catch up to my skills. My mom could not help but roll her eyes. Your skills are only slightly better than mine. Compared to what our son makes, you are still far behind. Faced with my mom's ruthless exposure, my dad could only lower his head and eat desperately, terrified that saying one more word would earn him another scolding from my mom. Seeing this, I smiled helplessly. Mom and dad were still the same as always. They had always loved to tear down each other's stage. But this did not affect the relationship between them as a couple at all. After dinner, my mom and Tang Yusin were in the living room feeding the baby's formula. My dad pulled me to the balcony, and then said in a deep voice, look at you kid, the mess you have made of things. You are still in school. I just asked Yusin earlier. She is your university teacher. Tell me, you do not even have a job right now, and you have to raise 3 babies. Later, Dad will transfer 100,000 yuan to you. You first. Dad, no need, I have money. Before my dad could finish his sentence, I waved my hand and said, are you kidding? I am truly someone who does not lack money right now. What do you mean, no need? Do not tell me you plan on living off a woman. My dad glared at me fiercely, expressing his disdain for such behavior. I did not bother explaining further. I took out my phone, opened my bank account, and handed it over to my dad. Here, see for yourself whether I am lying to you or not. My dad took the phone and looked, and his eyes almost popped out. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. A full several million in savings. You brat, where did you get so much money? You did not do anything shady, did you? I took my phone back and said with a smile, ever since I finished the college entrance exam, I have been writing novels. You know about this too. I have earned quite a bit over the years. I smiled and continued, although it was not much. I took that money and made over 10 million in the stock market. Over 10 million. My dad's eyes widened, and he said with disbelief, you're not joking with me, are you? I am not joking. Let me show you something. I opened Bilibili and pulled up the 3 videos under the account. See for yourself. The apartment in the video is own I bought myself. That RV was also bought by me. It is parked downstairs in the complex right now. I bought a house, bought a car, and still have several million left in my hands. Supporting my family is absolutely no problem. Hearing my words, my dad stood on the balcony and leaned over to look down. He found that there was indeed a massive RV parked downstairs. You really bought this? Yeah, I nodded. If you do not believe me, you and Mom can come to the Magic City another day and see for yourselves. It took a long time for my dad to reluctantly accept this fact. He patted my shoulder and said with gratification, good. Worthy of being my, Xiao Jun's, son. However, the stock market carries risks. You are still studying right now. You should still focus on your academics. Strive to find a good job after graduation. That way, even if the stock market is not doing well, you will still have a stable income to support this family. Yusin is a good girl. You must not let her down. Faced with my father's earnest advice, I did not say much. I just nodded heavily. We stayed at home for all night. The next day, after finishing our meal, I took Yusin and the babies and set off towards my father-in-law's house. Something completely unexpected happened. Today, I came prepared to have my legs broken. I drove the car, taking Yusin and the babies to the residential complex where my father-in-law lived. This complex was a bit newer than the one my family lived in. The various supporting facilities were also relatively complete. I parked the RV in a public parking space. I got out of the car and placed the 3 babies into their strollers. Following that, I took the various expensive gifts I had bought at the mall before coming, along with 4 bottles of milk. Only then did Tang Yusin and I exchange a smile. Pushing the strollers, we arrived downstairs. Tang Yusin took a deep breath, then walked forward and knocked on the door. The nervousness in her heart was no less than mine. She was afraid her father would not accept me. At this moment, in the living room, Tang Dingyuan looked as if he was burning with anxiety. He paced back and forth incessantly. Every feature on his face showed that he had something heavily weighing on his mind. Tang's mother sat on the sofa, calmly watching TV, and could not help but complain. Look at you. You were still angry yesterday, but today, knowing your daughter is coming back, you are as nervous as a monkey. I'm not. Just as Tang Dingyuan was about to retort, he heard a knock on the door from outside. He immediately returned to the sofa and sat down, putting on a stern and unsmiling expression. Meanwhile, Tang's mother hurriedly got up, walked to the door and opened it. Yusin, seeing her daughter, Tang's mother also could not quite control her emotions. Seeing her mother's figure, Tang Yusin's eyes reddened. I am back. After a year of running away from home for so long, their daughter had finally returned home. To parents, this was undoubtedly a tremendous happiness. Seeing this, Tang Dingyuan coughed lightly. Come inside quickly. What does it look like standing outside all this time? Tang's mother also snapped back to reality. She hurriedly reached out to let Yusin and me inside. Tang Yusin and I pushed the strollers into the house and parked them. Looking at this incredibly familiar home, Tang Yusin's feelings were very complex, especially when she saw her father sitting on the sofa, staring intently at her. Tang Yusin's heart inexplicably trembled. Dad, I am back. Tang Yusin's voice choked up. So you finally know how to come back. Running away from home for so long, and you did not even know to call home. Perhaps because Tang Dingyuan's voice was too loud, the babies in the strollers were frightened. Startled by his yell, all three babies instantly started crying. As soon as Tang Dingyuan finished speaking, Tang's mother shot him a fierce glare. Look at what you have done, scaring the children like that. Seeing this, Tang Yusin hurriedly began to soothe the babies. Their babies do not cry. He is not talking about you. Tang Dingyuan realized his voice was a bit too loud just now. Having scared his grandchildren on their very first meeting, he became a little anxious. He stood up and was about to come over, but was pushed away by Tang's mother. Go away, go away. You are the one who made the children cry. What are you coming over for now? Do you want to make my precious grandchildren cry again? Tang Dingyuan wanted to say something more, but ultimately kept his mouth shut. After all, it really was his fault just now. He could only stand awkwardly to the side, like a child who had done something wrong. I walked forward, smiled, and extended my right hand to Tang Dingyuan. Breaking the awkwardness, I said, Hello, uncle. My name is Xiao Fei. I am Yusin's boyfriend. Tang Dingyuan shook my hand perfunctorily. His gaze was constantly fixed on the three babies. He desperately wanted to hold the three babies too. But obviously, now was not the time. Under the soothing of Tang's mother and Tang Yusin, the babies finally stopped crying. Even the most timid second baby was currently lying in Tang's mother's arms, staring with dark, round eyes, curiously looking at her grandmother. Look, this child is smiling. So adorable. Let grandma give you a kiss. Tang's mother felt her heart melting as she watched. Seeing this scene, Tang Dingyuan also wanted to hold the children, but for the sake of his pride, he could only sit dryly on the sofa, managing to tear his gaze away from the three babies with great difficulty. He cleared his throat and looked at Tang Yusin and me sitting side by side in front of him. Is it all right if I call you Xiao Fei? Of course, you are the elder. It is only right for you to call me Xiao Fei. Tang Dingyuan fell silent for a moment, then continued, I know everything about what happened between you and my daughter. I heard from Yusin's mom that you bought an apartment in the Magic City. Yes, I nodded. I previously made a sum of money through stock trading. Originally, I intended to use it to continue investing. But after meeting Yusin and the children, I used the money to buy a house. After all, money can be earned at any time. But the babies must have a home as soon as possible. I can't let Yusin and the children suffer. Hearing this response of mine, Tang Dingyuan was very satisfied. This prospective son-in-law was not bad-looking, and he also kept his daughter and the children in his heart. He nodded. I heard you are still a student. Yes, uncle. I did not hide anything either. With a firm gaze, I said, I am already a junior. There are many classes I do not have to attend. I completely have the time to take care of Yusin and the babies. You do not need to worry about this, uncle. Up to this point, Tang Dingyuan no longer had any issues with me. He then shifted his gaze to Tang Yusin and asked, do these three babies have names? Seeing her father initiate a conversation with her, Tang Yusin said happily, these three babies, from left to right, are the eldest, the second, and the youngest. The eldest is a boy, named Xiao Xinghe. The second and youngest are girls, named Xiao Tianshui and Xiao Qingmeng. These three names were actually found by Xiao Fei, from a 7-character quatrain. Drunk, I know not the sky is in the water, Tianshu. A boat filled with clear dreams presses upon the river of stars. Qingmeng/Xinghe. Tang Dingyuan himself was a language and literature teacher, so he had quite a deep understanding of poetry and songs. Hearing the names of the 3 children, he nodded repeatedly in praise. Not bad, those are good names. Then he looked at the 3 babies again, seeing them babbling, with their chubby cheeks. Tang Dingyuan's hands started itching again. He so desperately wanted to hold his grandchildren, but because of his pride, he could only sit upright there. Seeing him act like this, Tang Yusin and I could not help but smile. At this time, I picked up the eldest baby and sat next to him. Look, this is the eldest. He is the bravest of them all. The eldest baby stared with his big watery eyes, looking curiously at Tang Dingyuan, constantly blowing bubbles from his mouth. Seeing his adorably naive appearance, Tang Dingyuan's entire heart melted. Uncle, do you want to hold him? I had already seen through my father-in-law's desire to hold the babies. Since he was not going to break my legs, I should naturally perform well. May I? Tang Dingyuan said this, but his hands were already reaching out, taking the eldest baby from my arms, leaving his daddy's embrace. The eldest baby was a little scared at first, but slowly, perhaps feeling Tang Dingyuan's love for him, the eldest baby gradually quieted down. He even reached out his chubby little hand, wanting to grab Tang Dingyuan's beard. Oh my precious grandson, do not pull grandpa's beard. The eldest baby, while grabbing, suddenly stopped moving. He stared wide-eyed, sitting there blankly, with an expression that looked somewhat awkward. Tang Dingyuan still did not know what happened. He thought it was what he just said. That scared his precious grandson. At this moment, I hurriedly took the eldest baby back. This little guy definitely made a stinky again. Immediately, I sat on the sofa and began looking for a new diaper for the eldest baby. Meanwhile, Tang Yusin went to the stroller and brought a wipe over. The 2 of us coordinated very tacitly. In just a few swift moves, we finished changing the eldest baby's diaper. Seeing my practiced movements, Tang Dingyuan and Tang's mother nodded secretly to themselves. Their daughter truly had not chosen the wrong person. It seemed Xiao Fei usually helped out a lot with taking care of the children. In the evening, I went into the kitchen and showed off my culinary skills. I made a huge table full of dishes. Tang Dingyuan almost swallowed his tongue while eating. He was not an unreasonable person. It was just that because his heart ached over what his daughter had gone through over the past year, coupled with not knowing anything about me, that he had been so full of hostility towards me. Now, looking at the 2 of us at the dinner table, acting so deeply in love, constantly putting food in each other's bowls, the knot in Tang Dingyuan's heart gradually unraveled. Uncle, Auntie, coming back this time. The main reason is that we have something we want to discuss with you. Halfway through the meal, I suddenly spoke up. Go ahead. Tang Dingyuan put down his chopsticks and looked up at me. Although he had already guessed 70 or 80% of it in his heart, he still waited to hear me out. It is like this. Yusin and I plan to get our marriage certificate tomorrow. This way, we can register the 3 children on the household register. As for the wedding, I plan to hold it after I graduate from university. What do you 2 think? Tang Dingyuan and Tang's mother exchanged a glance and both nodded. But, for the sake of the children, they indeed had to get the certificate. The 2 kids also liked each other. This might turn out to be a good marriage. Tang Dingyuan pondered for a moment, then continued, then in a couple of days. Let us meet your parents so we can get to know each other. The 2 of you are about to get the certificate and get married. If the in-laws have not even met yet, what would that look like? Seeing her father agree, Tang Yusin happily held my hand. Her face was full of joy. On the way here, Tang Yusin had been worried that her dad would disagree. She was even afraid they would get into an argument. But now, it was going smoother than expected. Hey, Uncle, and my parents also said they want to meet you. I will arrange a time another day so you can all meet. Tang's mother looked at me with a smiling face and teased, you are already preparing to get married. And you are still calling us Uncle and Auntie. I froze for a second, then immediately corrected myself. Dad, Mom, please eat the food. Do not let it get cold. All right? Tang Dingyuan and his wife responded happily. Everyone ate tonight's dinner exceptionally happily. I did not know if it was because my cooking was too good, or because the heavy stones in everyone's hearts had been lifted. Either way, they ate a lot. The next day, Tang Yusin and I got up very early. Last night, we did not sleep in the same room. Here in Sichuan and Chongqing, there is a custom, or rather, many places have this custom. When a married couple returns to the wife's maiden home, they cannot sleep in the same bed. I did not quite understand what meaning this custom held, but I did not make a fuss about it. However, at the thought of going to get our certificate today, Tang Yusin could not fall asleep last night no matter what. All night long, she had been recalling every little detail of her interactions with me recently. seeing her come out with a pair of panda eyes. I asked curiously, "Did you not sleep well last night? Do you want to sleep for a bit longer?" Tang Yusin blushed, her eyes darting away, too embarrassed to answer. It took a long time before she said, "Maybe I am too used to sleeping in my own bed at home. Changing locations suddenly makes it a bit hard to adjust." "It is fine," Tang Yusin waved her hand. "I will just put on some makeup in a bit and it will be fine." Before long, Tang Yusin finished her makeup and walked out of her bedroom. Her facial features were originally very exquisite, especially her high-bridged nose and her petite lips. Under the enhancement of makeup, she looked even more charming and moving. Tang Yusin also specially changed into the clothes I had bought for her previously. Wearing the necklace and earrings, she looked breathtakingly beautiful, like a radiant, shining star. Even for me, who saw her every day, a flash of amazement crossed my eyes at this moment. As expected of my wife, her beauty is unmatched. She looked at me shyly and timidly. Suddenly she raised an eyebrow. "Honestly, I originally wanted to dress you up too, but looking at you now, there is absolutely no need for that." At this moment, I was wearing a white dress shirt, paired with my handsome appearance. My elegant temperament was simply bursting with handsomeness. Tang Yusin was stunned just looking at me. Before meeting me, Tang Yusin had been very confident in her own looks. But now, compared to my face with its sword-like eyebrows and starry eyes, she felt she was completely outmatched. After breakfast, we left the 3 babies in the care of Tang's father and mother. The 2 of us then took our respective household registers and left the house, because the Civil Affairs Bureau was quite close, and it was still early. Tang Yusin and I did not drive, but chose to walk there instead. On the way, Tang Yusin affectionately linked her arm through mine. A happy smile graced her face. The 2 of us strolling down the street caused passers-by around us to turn their heads. After all, a duo of a handsome guy and a beautiful girl, no matter where they go, is an extremely eye-catching existence. Not long after, we arrived at the Civil Affairs Bureau. Today was a workday, so there were not many people here to get their certificates. Soon it was our turn. "Hello, we are here to get our marriage certificate." The staff member looked up, and their expression showed some surprise at the newlyweds in front of them. They had never seen a newlywed couple with such high good looks. "Okay, may I ask if you have brought all your documents?" I handed over both of our documents. The staff member took the documents and brought out a form. "Here, please fill out your information, and then go take a photo together." Following the staff member's instructions, Tang Yusin and I first filled out our information, and then went to get our photo taken. The photo-taking process went very smoothly. The photographer responsible for taking our photo, looking at the finished pictures, could not stop praising. "You two are truly a match made in heaven." I smiled and said thank you. Then, after submitting all the various documents and photos, it was not long before 2 little red booklets were placed into Tang Yusin's and my hands. Looking at the marriage certificate in her hand, Tang Yusin suddenly felt a sense of unreality. "Hubby, I am not dreaming, am I?" I directly wrapped my arm around Tang Yusin's waist right there on the street, and kissed her. Tang Yusin's pretty face flushed red, but she did not refuse, because now we were legally married. Following that, she took out her phone, opened the camera function, filmed the marriage certificates in our hands, and then said to the camera, "Today is a day worth commemorating. Starting from today, my husband and I have formally become a legally married couple. For the rest of my life, please guide me well." After Tang Yusin finished recording the video, she directly uploaded the raw footage to the 3 Treasures at Home account. This scene made countless people incredibly envious. After getting our marriage certificate, Tang Yusin and I went to buy a diamond ring. Unexpectedly, we ran into an admirer of Tang Yusin's. Tang Yusin was still looking at the 2 little red booklets, immersed in the joy of getting our marriage certificate. "Hubby, where are we going now? Come on, let us go buy wedding rings." Originally, I wanted to buy a dairy ring, but there did not seem to be a store nearby, so I could only choose this Tiffany boutique nearby. "Hubby, let us forget it. This is too much of a waste of money. Besides, have not you already bought me an engagement ring?" Tang Yusin looked a bit hesitant. "How can that be the same?" I patted her hand and said, "An engagement ring is an engagement ring. What we need to buy now are diamond wedding rings. Do not worry about wasting money. Your husband has plenty of money." With that, I took Tang Yusin and walked into this Tiffany boutique. Seeing the 2 of us come in, a sales assistant immediately came up to greet us warmly. "Welcome. What would you 2 like to purchase?" After entering the boutique, I noticed that Tang Yusin was already captivated by the various diamond rings in the store. I could not help but smile. Then I looked at the sales assistant and smiled. We would like to buy a pair of wedding rings. Okay, please follow me. The sales assistant had already seen the red booklets in our hands just now. Generally speaking, for this kind of newlywed couple, the success rate of purchasing diamond rings is the highest. Looking at the sparkling diamond rings inside the display cases, Tang Yusin felt like she loved every single design. But after seeing the prices, she could not help but frown. I had been observing Tang Yusin's reactions all along. Soon I noticed that Tang Yusin's gaze was captivated by a particular pair of diamond rings. Take a look. That pair of diamond rings was priced at 380,000 yuan. You like this own? Seeing me pointing at the pair of diamond rings she liked, Tang Yusin nodded, but she still felt a little conflicted in her heart. 380,000 yuan. Hello, could we try on this design? I thought to myself, as long as my wife likes it, no matter how expensive it is, I will satisfy her. After all, getting married is every girl's happiest moment. Hearing my words, the sales assistant immediately took out that pair of diamond rings and handed the women's ring to me with a beaming smile. I took off the engagement ring on Tang Yusin's hand and slowly slid the wedding ring onto her finger. The size was just right. I then extended my own hand. Wifey, can you put mine on for me too? Tang Yusin, with a blushing face, under the envious gaze of the sales assistant, gently put the ring on for me. Although she was a bit shy, she was still very happy in her heart. You two are so deeply in love, the sales assistant could not help but praise. This was a compliment from the bottom of her heart. Whether it was our good looks or my attitude towards Tang Yusin, she truly envied us. Thank you, I said with a smile. Please wrap up this pair of rings for me. When buying things for my own wife, I never hesitate. Making money is meant to be spent anyway. Seeing that without even blinking an eye, I was about to buy this pair of diamond rings. The sales assistant's mouth dropped open in shock. You have to realize the consumption level in Sichuan and Chongqing is not considered high. For diamond rings worth hundreds of thousands like this, selling own pair a year is already considered very good. She never expected that she would actually run into such a major client today. The sales assistant's face immediately broke into a huge smile as she led me to the checkout. After paying the bill, we left the store hand in hand. Tang Yusin looked at the diamond ring on her hand, her face full of a happy smile. Tang Yusin, just then, a voice full of surprise came from not far away. Tang Yusin, who was originally immersed in happiness and unable to extricate herself, saw the man in front of her, and the smile on her face vanished instantly. Her brows also furrowed tightly, instantly turning into an aloof, cold goddess. Sun Liang, why are you here? The man called Sun Liang looked about the same age as Tang Yusin. He stared with wide, round eyes, looked at Tang Yusin, and then looked at me beside her. I was just passing by. I did not expect to run into you. What, is this your boyfriend? Sun Liang looked at me, his eyes full of hostility. Not boyfriend, husband. We have already gotten our marriage certificate. Tang Yusin extended her slender, jade-like hand and showed off the diamond ring on her finger. You guys got your certificate? Sun Liang looked at Tang Yusin in disbelief, his lips trembling as he asked. He never imagined that his former school beauty goddess would actually get married. Wifey, this is... At this time, I asked somewhat curiously. Although I already had a few guesses in my heart, I still was not completely sure. He is my high school classmate Sun Liang. Tang Yusin answered dismissively. Seeing him annoyed her. Back in high school, he was always chasing after Tang Yusin relentlessly. Hello, Mr. Sun. I politely extended my right hand to Sun Liang. My name is Xiao Fei. Although Sun Liang was a bit reluctant in front of his goddess, he still managed to squeeze out a smile and shook my hand. Hello, Mr. Xiao. My name is Sun Liang. Congratulations to you both. School beauty Tang, you are really not acting like a good friend, getting married and not even telling us old classmates. After exchanging pleasantries with me, Sun Liang shifted his attention back to Tang Yusin and teased her with a smile. Tang Yusin tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. This casual movement made her exude a unique charm. Although the greenness of her youth was gone, the mature temperament she displayed now was even more charming and moving. Seeing this, Sun Liang subconsciously clenched his fists. The goddess he had pursued so bitterly but failed to get back then, in the blink of an eye, had already become someone else's wife. He definitely felt terrible in his heart. I am sorry about that. Although we have gotten our certificate, we have not held a wedding ceremony yet, so we did not notify you old classmates. Tang Yusin tightly held my arm and said without even looking up, I see. Then I hope I can drink to your wedding soon. Sun Liang said indifferently, then left with a forced smile. Since they were already married, there was no need to waste any more breath. After he walked far away, I finally asked, he seemed to be interested in you. I gave a cheeky smile, thinking to myself that this great beauty is now my wife. I have absolutely no interest in him whatsoever. Tang Yusin seemed afraid that I would misunderstand and hurriedly explained. In high school he pursued me, but I did not accept, so that is why he… Alright, you do not need to explain. Do I look like that kind of petty person? Seeing Tang Yusin getting a little anxious, I tapped her nose. Besides, we are already married. Wanting to snatch you away from me, that won't be so easy. I am not that stupid to just leave such a beautiful wife to be snatched away by someone else. Hearing my words, Tang Yusin smiled foolishly again. The feeling she had right now was that meeting me was her greatest luck. The next day, Tang Yusin and I took the babies and arrived early at the entrance of the Time Hotel. Although the two of us had not held a wedding ceremony yet, since we had already gotten our certificate, it was only right for both sets of parents to meet and have a meal together. As for inviting guests widely, that was a matter for later, and the ones to arrive first at the hotel today were my parents. Just as my dad and mom arrived at the hotel, Tang Yusin's parents also arrived. Between them was an elderly woman with graying hair. Grandma. Seeing the elderly woman, Tang Yusin immediately went up to greet her. When Tang Yusin was little, she was raised by her grandparents. Her grandfather passed away from illness a few years ago, leaving only her grandmother alone. And my father-in-law is an only child. So there are only 3 people on the Tang family side. Oh, where are my great-grandchildren? Tang Yusin's grandmother was not in very good health. Supported by my father-in-law and Tang's mother, she walked tremblingly over, looking at the 3 chubby little cuties in the strollers. The elderly woman's already wrinkled face became even more pronounced due to her smile. She looked up at her granddaughter and then looked at me. Her originally cloudy eyes slowly began to shine with a light. She held my hand tightly, praising repeatedly, "Good, good, what a handsome child." Being praised by grandma like this, I actually felt a little embarrassed. I also held grandma's hands, greeting her, "Hello, grandma. My name is Xiao Fei." "Oh, Xiang Fei, good name, good name." Tang Yusin's grandmother was a bit hard of hearing. She could not hear very clearly and could only get the gist of it. Tang Yusin and I exchanged a glance and smiled helplessly. At the hotel entrance, my father-in-law and my dad also started chatting. My dad handed my father-in-law a cigarette. "My in-law, I have been looking forward to meeting you for a long time. Tonight, the two of us won't go home until we are drunk." My father-in-law laughed heartily and said, "You could not tell at all that he was still angry about this matter just yesterday." After inquiring, I found out that the two of them, one is a director at a local state-owned enterprise, and the other is a language and literature teacher at a key high school in the city. Whether it was my father-in-law or my dad, they were both very satisfied with each other. On the other side, my mom was also warmly chatting with my mother-in-law. The two were similar in age, and shared similar hobbies and interests, so they got along very well. It did not take long before they were calling each other sisters. The 2 large families bustled, taking the 3 babies with them, and entered the private room they had booked in advance. Before long, the waiters started serving the dishes. A table full of delicious delicacies was quickly brought out. This meal was enjoyed thoroughly by both hosts and guests, whether it was my father-in-law or my dad. Both were talking loudly and started playing drinking games. Tang Yusin took a few bites and then hardly touched her chopsticks again. Her stomach had been spoiled by my cooking and became a bit picky. Even food made by a 5-star hotel chef tasted a bit bland to her. The meal lasted until the end, and both families had their fill of fun. Before parting, my mother-in-law even took the task of taking care of the babies upon herself. She winked at Tang Yusin and me. "You two go have fun. Enjoy your time as a couple. We will take care of the children. It is fine even if you come back late." That look was a clear "I know what is up" expression. I looked at the beautiful, charming lady beside me, and asked with a smile, "Wifey, where do you want to go to have fun?" Tang Yusin tilted her head and started thinking. After a while, she had a flash of inspiration and said, "Hubby, how about we go watch a movie?" Having known each other for so long, she had not even watched a movie with me yet. I immediately took out my phone to buy tickets. I checked the movies currently playing, and finally chose a sci-fi romance film. After all, how can you go on a date and not watch a romance movie? Immediately, the two of us took a taxi to the cinema. Because it was not a holiday, there were not many people in the cinema. The movie the two of us chose was not a premiere either, but an imported remastered film from abroad. It told the story, set against the backdrop of the end of the world. of a newlywed couple from meeting and falling in love, to having children, and struggling to survive. The plot of this movie was very twisty and bizarre. The encounters of the male and female protagonists also made people feel deeply anxious. As she watched, Tang Yusin's tears were about to fall. She leaned into my ear and whispered, "Hubby, what would we do if it really was the end of the world?" I held her hand tightly, and said with a serious expression, "Then even if I have to give it my all, I will make sure you and the babies survive." Tang Yusin nodded, her heart full of emotion. Halfway through the movie screening, Tang Yusin, having drank too much milk tea, had to go out to use the restroom. After she finished using the restroom, while standing at the sink touching up her makeup, she suddenly heard from behind her a voice exclaiming in surprise, "Ting." Hearing the voice, Tang Yusin turned to look. She saw a tall, beautiful woman standing at the door. The other party's eyes were filled with joy and surprise. "When did you return to the country?" Seeing the other person's face clearly, Tang Yusin was also slightly taken aback. "Xiao, why are you here?" "I've been back for a while." After graduating from high school, Tang Yusin went abroad to study for a few years. Later, she was admitted to Peking University as a graduate student. So she graduated early, returned to the country, and studied for 2 years for her master's at Peking University. "Oh, are you here to watch a movie? With your boyfriend?" Her name is Chen Shiyao, Tang Yusin's high school classmate. When they were in school, the two had a very good relationship. "Do it?" Tang Yusin asked back with a smiling face. Chen Shiyao immediately nodded. Today was a rare occasion for her and her boyfriend to come here for a little date. Seeing this, Tang Yusin revealed a somewhat smug smile. "But you guessed wrong. I'm not here with my boyfriend, but my husband." "Oh my god, you got married. Why did not you even tell me?" "Yusin, that is not being a good friend. You kept this a secret way too well." Chen Shiyao looked a bit surprised. Tang Yusin smiled faintly and said sweetly, "We got our certificate, but we have not held a wedding ceremony yet, so I did not tell you." Chen Shiyao shook her head, sighing, "I can't believe you are already married." "All right, after watching the movie later, my boyfriend and I are going to sing karaoke. Do you guys want to come along? A few other high school classmates will be there too." "Right now, towards your boyfriend." "Oh wait, your husband. I am very interested. You definitely have to tell him to come." Faced with Chen Shiyao's invitation, Tang Yusin did not agree immediately but thought about it for a moment. "I have to go ask my husband about this, to see if he wants to go. If he does not want to, I can't force him." "Oh, are you already a henpecked husband?" "What?" "Oh my, back in the day, our great goddess Tang was a famous ice-cold beauty." Chen Shiyao could not help but tease. Being teased by Chen Shiyao like this, Tang Yusin's pretty face flushed red. She playfully glared at Chen Shiyao, and then said, "What do you know, I have to go back now. If I wait any longer, my husband will get worried." Tang Yusin took me to her class reunion, drawing envious gazes from all the men and women present. Just as we came out of the cinema, Tang Yusin saw Chen Shiyao, who had been waiting there for a long time. At this moment, beside Chen Shiyao, stood a man wearing a dress shirt, scrolling through short videos out of boredom. Tang Yusin called out to Chen Shiyao. Chen Shiyao turned her head, and upon seeing it was Tang Yusin, she immediately brought her boyfriend over. When she got close and saw my face clearly, a flash of amazement instantly crossed Chen Shiyao's eyes. "This is your husband, he is so handsome." "But, ahem, my boyfriend is very handsome too." Chen Shiyao's boyfriend smiled somewhat awkwardly. Regarding his own looks, he still had a lot of self-awareness. Compared to me in front of him, it was simply the difference between clouds and mud. The two of us shook hands politely. "Hello, my name is Xiao Fei." Looking at my attire, Fang Wenxiang knew that the man in front of him was absolutely no ordinary person. So he immediately took out his business card and respectfully handed it over with both hands. I took it and saw that the other party was actually a lawyer. "Sorry, I do not have a business card to give you in return." Fang Wenxiang waved his hand, indicating it did not matter. He knew that those big shots with prominent statuses would not carry business cards with them when going out. After all, they were not wage earners like them. While Chen Shiyao pulled Tang Yusin aside to chat about something, Fang Wenxiang also started chatting with me. "Little brother, may I ask where you work?" "I just do a little investing to get by. My making big money through stock trading was certainly not something I would casually tell anyone. Otherwise, it would bring endless trouble. I am afraid it is not as simple as just getting by." Seeing that I was covered in luxury brands from head to toe, Fang Wenxiang could not help but say secretly in his heart. On the other side, upon learning that Tang Yusin had given birth to 3 children, Chen Shiyao's eyes widened like cowbells. What, you already have kids and they are triplets? Chen Shiyao looked at Tang Yusin in disbelief, as if looking at an immortal, having given birth to 3 children. And your figure is still maintained so well. You are way too amazing. I am precisely afraid of my figure going out of shape. So even if I get married, I do not plan on having children. Besides, taking care of children is so troublesome. It must be exhausting normally. Hearing Chen Shiyao's words, Tang Yusin smiled. Actually, it is all right. Usually, Xiao Fei and the maternity matron take care of the children. I still have to go to work. I am so envious. Chen Shiyao could not help but sigh with emotion. Following that, she glanced at her phone and said to Tang Yusin, "All right, it is about time. The others have all arrived. Let us go sing karaoke." Just as she finished speaking, Chen Shiyao suddenly thought of something, and said with a strange expression, I just remembered, Sun Liang is also there. You do not mind, Why would I mind? Tang Yusin looked back at me chatting with Fang Wenxiang, and then said, besides, my husband and I ran into Sun Liang yesterday. He knows I am married. Chen Shiyao instantly breathed a sigh of relief. Then she shouted at Fang Wenxiang, big man, let us go. What are you still standing there for? She is always like this. Fang Wenxiang shrugged helplessly and said to me, when we are outside she is always so fierce to me. Hee, it shows you guys have a good relationship. The main thing is she is very cunning. In front of my mom, she is incredibly gentle to me. But outside she orders me around like a laborer. What did you say? Chen Shiyao walked up to Fang Wenxiang, staring at him angrily. Were you speaking ill of me in front of others? No, I did not say anything. Fang Wenxiang immediately chickened out, putting on a flattering look. These 2 goofballs, after they get married, he will definitely be a henpecked husband. Seeing this, Tang Yusin and I could not help but laugh. It seemed Tang Yusin and my way of getting along was more comfortable. At this time, inside the KTV private room, several young men and women were singing. A girl's phone suddenly rang. She picked it up and saw it was a message from Chen Shiyao. After reading the message, the girl immediately raised the microphone and said loudly, Shiyao and her boyfriend are coming soon. And Tang Yusin is coming too. Because she was holding the microphone. Even though the room was incredibly noisy, everyone still heard this news. For a moment, the originally boisterous room instantly became quiet. Tang Yusin, was not she our class beauty? I remember she went to study abroad, after graduating from high school, right? I can't believe she is actually coming today too. Back then, out of the 10 guys in our class, 8 of them liked her. It seems the few of us are really lucky today. The male compatriots present began to discuss animatedly. But at this moment, hearing Tang Yusin's name, Sun Liang, who had been cheerful just a moment ago, instantly became silent. The guy sitting next to him nudged his shoulder with an elbow and teased, Liang Zi, I remember back then, you pursued Tang Yusin so bitterly. Maybe there is still hope for you too. Hearing this, Sun Liang became even more depressed. He raised his glass and took a big gulp, then shook his head and said, there is no hope. She is already married. As soon as these words came out, everyone present was stunned. They all turned their gazes over. The goddess in their hearts was actually already married. When did this happen? There was not any news about it at all. Sun Liang poured himself another glass of wine and said slowly, yesterday, I accidentally ran into Tang Yusin and her husband on the street. I found out she has already gotten her certificate and is married. Hearing this news, the guys present all felt somewhat disappointed. Although so many years had passed, knowing the goddess they once dreamed of day and night had become someone else's wife, they inevitably felt a bit sour in their hearts. What does her husband do? Right at this moment, someone suddenly asked, what kind of exceptional abilities did he have to win the goddess's favor? Sun Liang shook his head and said absent-mindedly, I do not know. When Tang Yusin gets here later, you can ask her yourselves. All right then, the guy sitting next to Sun Liang said with some indignation, I want to see just what kind of great figure he is, to be able to marry the goddess of our class. Sun Liang did not speak anymore. He just held his glass and took 2 heavy gulps of wine. Staring into the distance, who knows what he was thinking about. Before long, the door to the private room was pushed open from the outside. The first to enter were Chen Shiyao and Fang Wenxiang. Everyone knew these 2. Even Fang Wenxiang had been met by everyone before. Hello, handsome guys and beautiful ladies, we are here. As soon as she entered, Chen Shiyao greeted everyone. We are not late, are we? No, you came right on time. Everyone chimed in agreement, but their eyes kept staring at the door. Seeing this, Chen Shiyao rolled her eyes. She stood at the door and said, I knew it. You guys Only have our class's goddess Tang on your minds, right? Come on now, I will let you see just what our class's goddess Tang looks like. Ta-da! As soon as Chen Shiyao finished speaking, the door to the private room was pushed open again. A woman wearing a white top and a short skirt walked in gracefully from outside. A head of smooth, black hair was casually draped over her shoulders. Her face was exquisitely beautiful, as if carved by heaven. At the very first sight of her, the male compatriots present all widened their eyes like copper bells. Expressions of shock appeared on their faces. Tang Yusin's appearance had already brought extreme shock to everyone, but following closely behind her was an incredibly handsome man. Seeing this man, who was over 1.8 meters tall and incomparable